Hey everyone. What's going on? What's up, Corey? How's it going, brother? Cryo, Chester, VJ, Feisty, Tracy, Jeff, Jeff, Luca, what's going on? Valador, what's going on? Lady, what's going on? Wendy, Taro. God, I hope I don't miss anyone. Carolyn. Hey, Ryan. I don't see my chat's over here to her spot. Ryan, Potty. Hey, Cat Mom, how you doing? Teddy, what's going on? Thank you, lady. I appreciate that. How was my time away? Very, very nice. Very, very nice. I should do that more often. I should stop working at full speed all the time. Who knew? Who knew? If you actually, take time and, I don't know, not be stressed out, it's better for you. I don't know. I'm still not really sure about this. Lindsay, thank you so much for the hat and mustache. I appreciate that. I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. All right, y'all. I'm doing my best. Doing my best over here. Hey, Jen. Well, I already know when the next trip is coming because I'm headed out. Well, I don't know where I'm headed out. That's the problem. But I don't know where I'm leaving to. I just know when I'm leaving to. And it's not even for vacation. So Delaney, me too. Me too. Well, I'm headed out because I'm going to No Kings. I just don't know where I'm going to go to No Kings at. Hey, Heathen, what's going on? I'm going for No Kings. I just don't know where I'm going to No Kings at. I just know I am going. I might. I'm not going to NOLA. Sorry, I was actually just really close. I was in Biloxi this weekend. I'm probably heading out.
It's insane.
And I'm probably might be meeting up with some other pretty cool creators. So who knows? Who knows what could happen? Yeah. So might be meeting up with some other creator types. Pretty cool. Doing some politics things. I don't know. We'll figure it out though. We'll go someplace. Nova, me too. I am also glad to hear that it is growing. Oh my goodness. I actually woke up this morning and I was like, I don't remember what it used to look like. I don't remember what it used to look like. I know it used to be longer. It's starting to grow a little bit. I'm so happy. I may never shave again. I may never shave again. Feisty, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate that, Feisty. Thank you so much. Feisty said, "Are you a spy?" I don't know. Yes, maybe. I don't know. In what reference? Because I don't know where I'm going. Is that what you mean? Oh, because I'm saying I'm leaving, but I don't know where I'm going. Probably. Yeah, no, it's not that I don't know where I'm going. Like I'm being sent. I don't know where I'm going because I haven't decided. That's what it is. We're at. So we'll figure it out. I have another like 2 months. I've had 2 months. No Kings is until the end of March. I got time. Here's the problem with planning a place to go, like, you know, early is everything changes so fast in our political environment. I know you were joking, Feisty. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I knew you were joking. The problem with our political landscape is it's so fast changing that I could decide I'm going someplace today, and then the right place to go I won't know until next month. You know, and that's what's unfortunate. You know, so it looks like things are winding down in Minnesota. Not winding down, but like less. Not as bad. So I assume by the end of next month, it'll be a completely different environment. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We're talking about a few different places. Okay. We're talking about a few places. Most of them are in the Northeast. So most of them are in the Northeast. So just to give that little tidbit. So probably not out west. Probably not staying in the South. Probably going to the Northeast. Most likely. But who knows? We'll see. Thanks again, Feisty. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's good. I'm happy to be going. I'm happy to be going. Should be fun. Should be fun. Well, Jeff, New York is a city in the Northeast. That is correct. There are other cities though that I am also considering. Yeah, I might change my mind and not even go to the Northeast like next week. Yeah, maybe New York, maybe Philly, maybe Boston, maybe DC. Who knows? Nick, it's gonna be someplace big because the last one I went to, we went small town. So we went small town last time, so this next one's gonna be a big one. Yeah. Detroit. I wouldn't mind Detroit. Wait, hold on. How cold is it still in Detroit at the end of March? That's the question. how I feel like y'all are still in winter in the end of March. I'm not sure. Can't have shit in Detroit, man. Can't have shit in Detroit. Not too bad for you or not too bad for me. That's a big difference, okay? Not too bad for somebody that lives in Detroit is probably like me in the hospital with hypothermia, okay? I was considering not even going to the Northeast in March because I was like, it might be too cold. I don't know. I'm from Michigan, could be 70 or minus 20. I'm not willing to take that chance. I'm not willing to take that chance. Okay? 70 sounds great. If I go someplace and it's negative 20, I don't know about all that. Baltimore, no, that's a city. I've actually never been to Baltimore. That'd be a cool one to go to. That'd be a cool one to go to. I just see Tatted here. Hey, Tatted. And Ogden's over here. What's going on? Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. All right, guys. 1 second. I'm going to turn on these phone lines. I just realized I forgot one thing real quick. Left my chapstick. Can't do the live without the chapstick. Can't start the live without a chapstick. Sorry. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's open up these phone lines, get this thing going, shall we? Appreciate you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, let's get this thing started. As far as where I'll be going, all sorts of stuff, I'll probably put in the Discord before we go out there. Yeah, wherever that is, you know. So we'll figure that out as we get things going. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. As you guys are filling in, please come in, double tap the screen if you're over in that one, hit the like button, go for the live gift goal, support the live. Really appreciate you guys. Got the hat and mustaches. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm excellent. How old are you?
I'm 27.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yes.
Awesome. What was that?
Mostly for the stuff that he does for the economy.
Like?
He's in favor for lowering taxes for the middle class and it's mainly his focus on helping the middle class that I support him for.
Is that like a serious comment or like?
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
Because you don't sound like you're serious.
I'm serious.
You're just not giving me like a real like serious tone here. Just being honest.
I mean, is that like something you don't agree with?
Well, of course, nobody would agree with that, but doesn't sound like you're serious.
I'm just like kind of nervous to be on here, but
How old did you say you were?
I'm 27.
Oh, okay. So, fine. We'll assume that you're serious for the moment, but just let you guys know for later, I do not believe it. Okay, I do not believe it. All right. So let's be very clear. Donald Trump does not have a focus on the middle class. He has a focus on the upper class, and he has the entire time. That's why the majority of his tax cuts and the majority of the money that we've lost that has been spent on our economy is within a switch of our finances within our government has gone to the top 1% in large corporations. He's lowered the corporate tax cut both in his first term and in his second term. First by 20 or by 11%, or was it 14%? And like another 7 or so in the next one, right? He's done drastic cuts to the corporate tax rate. Which in no way, of course, is for the middle class, right? He's implemented tariffs across the board on every single country, which the direct, the people who pay the most of that tariff cost is the middle and lower classes, right? And they're the ones that are most affected by it because when you raise tariffs, that money disproportionately, affects the middle and lower classes more than it affects the upper class, right? And we just had, from the Kiel Institute, who just did a study showing that 96% of the tariff cost is being paid by Americans currently. So prices are higher, unemployment rates higher, job loss numbers are through the roof. All of those insanely disproportionately affect the middle class in a negative manner. So how is that him having a middle class first mindset?
Um, well, actually, since you mentioned the tariffs, I feel like when it comes to the tariffs, um, I think that we should still trust his word that it like he kind of warned us at first we are going to feel the effects of it, but then long term it will be better for our country. Um, so I feel like we still should kind of like wait and see what's going to happen when it comes to the effects of those.
Well, sir, that's a completely different argument. Okay. It is sir, correct?
What was that? Sorry.
I said it is sir, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, sir, that's just doesn't make any sense. What you're saying is that he's hyper focused on the middle class. And now you're telling me that he's focused on making the middle class worse, which is then going to make it better later. So, therefore, he's not hyper focused on making the middle class better right now, right? Like, according to your own admission, he's making it worse now so he can make it better later, except for tariffs aren't going to make it better later, right? Because there's no ability for it to do that, right? He said it was going to bring back jobs, even though we lost over 1 million jobs last year, right? And we're continually losing more jobs, right? And even as people come in and manufacture, they're not going to be using people to be able to do it. So our job market is going to continue to suffer. That's why we have the highest unemployment rate, since we shut down for COVID. So even if you say it's going to make it better later, it's currently not making it better. And then you would have to explain to me how it's going to make it better later and how it even has the possibility to do that. And I just don't see a possibility of that happening. AJ, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate that.
Um, well, in terms of it, eventually making it better, I do think that the idea is by default, sooner or later, more jobs will have to come back to this country rather than them, being overseas.
Why?
Um, I just because it'll be cheaper to have those jobs done here instead of having to pay for the tariffs.
Okay, so no, that's not correct. You know how much there's places in China, like not even like the slave labor parts, where the median household income for that place is like $4 an hour equivalent in US dollars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and this is all the way across the board. I mean, we look at countries like prices in India, places in Vietnam, like places in all throughout Southeast Asia, Thailand, and stuff like that, where the cost of living is just significantly lower, right? And because the cost of living is significantly lower, than the median household income is significantly lower, so therefore the amount of wages you have to pay someone in order to have a median household income is significantly lower, right? And so if you can pay someone in, say, Thailand $5 an hour, right, to build the product, right, but you have to pay someone in the United States $20 to work in that factory, all right, then Donald Trump's 18% tariff doesn't make it cheaper to come here instead of paying the tariffs. It still makes it cheaper over there. It just means that Americans have to pay more.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that these companies would also have to retool over here, which would cost a significant amount of capital, right, in order to build the factories here. And so you have to, include that cost in, cost on top of the labor cost, not to mention a lot of these products have their natural resources and stuff that are already over there. So even if they brought their company over here, the natural resources would still be in those countries. Therefore, those natural resources would still be subjected to the tariffs, right? All of that put together would mean that it doesn't make it monetarily, smart from a business standpoint to move your business, especially when you don't know whether the next president's going to come in and just take off the tariffs, and then you don't have that problem.
Um,
Hell, even to add to that, just before you respond, the Supreme Court hasn't even ruled whether he can have those tariffs yet, right? So if the Supreme Court could rule, like, in the next couple months that Donald Trump doesn't even have the ability to implement those tariffs, therefore all of those tariffs go away.
Yeah, that's true. Are the tariffs that are currently in place, are they through executive orders?
Yes.
Okay.
Executive order, executive action. Sometimes I think he just wakes up in the morning and just makes up a number on which country to put on somebody.
Yeah, it does seem that way sometimes. So what about so in regards to taxes with the TCGA that JA that he had under his first term, and like a lot of those same policies were kind of like replicated in the big beautiful bill. Wouldn't you say that at least is a good thing?
Why? It was sending us on our way to a recession. And then, well, we had a recession. I mean, it was blamed on COVID, but we've seen that those exact policies, the policies that increase, that decrease, corporate tax rates, that could, decrease taxes on the wealthy, especially when you don't have a significant spending decrease, just adds to the national debt and puts us into, inflationary things that cause recessions. We've seen that throughout history. We saw it under George Bush, we saw it under Reagan, and we saw it under the TCJA too. The only difference is that we had COVID hit.
Yeah. Well, I think that he's trying to cut spending, isn't he?
Nope, we're at an all-time high in spending right now. Government spending is at a literal all-time high right
Oh.
now. Yep.
That's pretty wild for me to hear. Like, I didn't even realize that because, like, usually, the conservative idea is to, like, cut the spending.
No, the conservative idea is to tell you that they're cutting the spending. Last time we had a balanced budget was under Clinton.
That's true.
Yeah. They just tell you that they're really good at cutting spending. They're like, we're small government. We're going to cut spending. We like doing all of that. And then you're like, okay, are you going to cut it? And they go, well, actually, we're just going to give giant corporate tax rate, cuts to taxes. So we're going to stop our income and we're not going to decrease anything at all. Right. Actually, what they end up doing is they end up doing things like increasing the defense budget. Right. They increase, like making ICE the funded the same as the entire Israeli military, right? So like he's not decreasing anything. The only thing that they're trying to decrease is taking health care away from, disabled people and making sure poor people starve.
So what would, for someone like me where the conservative kind of ideals, they're more aligned with what I like, with what you were saying, like they're telling us that they're going to cut spending, but they don't actually do that. Like, since that's the case, like, what would you recommend for someone like me? You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to say, like, in terms of like candidates to look out for.
Yeah, so I don't know your entire ideological platform, right? But if you're talking about somebody who's probably going to, reduce spending and freaking, probably keep taxes around the same, probably raise corporate tax rates while, decreasing or keeping the same on middle and lower class tax rate, that would be what a Democrat is. Yeah. So.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is because, like, the Democrats usually also spend a lot.
They spend a lot. They spend less, though. Generally speaking.
Their usual answer for problems is to just write a check.
What are you talking about, dude? Donald Trump wrote 2 stimulus checks. He spent more like in any, he literally added more to the national debt than any president has in 4 years. And that was in his first term. He's already added another $4 trillion in debt, just signed in the big beautiful bill, right? Sure.
Yeah, that's true.
And maybe this is a disagreement on money, right? And so like my thing with money is I don't have a problem with taxes, okay? I have a problem with where the money's going, right? That's my issue, right? So if we have tax money and that tax money is going to make sure poor people can eat, I'm all for tax money, right? If it goes towards making sure people can have health care or make sure, people, disabled people can go to the hospital or people can get their medications or, old people can get Social Security, I'm all for it. I think that that's great, right? When my taxes are just getting paid that way that, I don't know, Elon Musk can get a tax break and Donald Trump can go to a football game, then I just don't really see the point in what we're doing. Or if we're using that money to bail out Argentina, or if my prices all have to go up because there's a tariff cost on everything that I want to buy on Amazon, right? And I'm not seeing a direct benefit of that, which we haven't, right? Donald Trump's been playing with these tariffs for a year now, and we haven't seen any direct benefits that have come from them. The job market still sucks. Prices are still going up. Inflation's still rising. Like all of these things are still happening, right? So you have to show me like, okay, where is the government actually spending this money? And so far, what I've seen from Donald Trump is he spends it in all the wrong places. And so it doesn't really help anything. Not to mention, again, individual tax rates aren't really being reduced. They're being reduced on a tax rate basis, but it's just being made up for by tariff costs because people are paying thousands of dollars in tariffs now a year. Right? Donald Trump is literally suing the DOJ, right? He's literally trying to sue to take my American tax dollars and put it directly in his pocket at the tune of $250 million.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And I guess, because it's also like, he's doing the whole Reaganomics trickle down thing. And, obviously that has flaws as we've seen. But I mean, I don't know. Like I feel like when it comes to that part of it, I get kind of confused because I'm like, it's a good thing for the people on top in these corporations, like, to have tax breaks so that they can, their businesses can flourish more. And like, since we live in a capitalistic society, we depend so much on these businesses doing well, and so that everybody else in our society can do well. I don't know. I just I feel like the idea sounds really nice, but it's never, I guess, applied properly.
Yeah, it's not. That's not applied properly. It just doesn't work, right? So you're like the entire point of trickle down economics. It like requires businesses to be ethical and empathetic, and they're not. That's not the job of a business, right? A job of a business is to make money, right? Is to increase their bottom lines, right? Like that's what their job is, right? Amazon doesn't have a right to be. He doesn't have a necessity to be, ethical and empathetic. It just doesn't even make any sense, right? So you have like, why would like that would say like, oh, we're going to give Amazon a corporate tax cut. Now I'm relying on Amazon to use that money to increase their wages of their employees, but they don't have to. They can just pocket the money and keep it with their CEOs and their stockholders and, their board members, and we can just give them money. So why don't I just tax the company and then give the money to the workers anyway? Right? Why do I need like to give it to the company and hope that they give it to their employees? Why don't I just give it to the employees?
Yeah. I feel like I can kind of see both sides of it too, because then, if taxes get too high, then that's like like a lot of businesses will start failing, and it's kind of like, I don't know.
Nope. These companies are getting corporate tax cuts and they're at record high business sales already. And they're not expanding and they're not hiring, right? Because Amazon just cut another 16,000 jobs, right? Right after they got got another corporate tax cut, right? So they're not paying their wages, more wages to people. They're not increasing their workforce. They're not expanding to new markets. They're just taking the money and putting it in their pockets. That's it. That's all they're doing. All right. So instead of that, I'd rather just take the money from Jeff Bezos and give it to the people in the middle class, without it. But anyways, I think I'm going to move on to the next caller. But I hope you stick around. Hope you have a good one. All right.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. Just me. Thank you so much for the happy 8 months. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Allison, thank you so much. Y'all, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Allison, thank you so much for the $10. I saw that was Allison's first super chat ever. Can we get W's in the chat for Allison for the first super chat ever? Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. That was very, very sweet. And Brian, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. We need even bigger W's in the chat for Brian for that $50 super chat. That is so huge and so big. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Brian and Allison, for both of those amazing super chats. Also, Neurospicy, I saw you over there with those hat and mustaches too. I really do appreciate all of that. Y'all, if y'all would like support, first of all, make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We do this pretty much every single day. So thank you guys so much for being here and being a part of the team. I saw just me over there with the 8-month freaking membership over there, which I believe is as long as I've been on YouTube almost. So that's pretty impressive. All right. Thank you guys all so much. Y'all, if you all would like support, I do have all the fun stuff. I have the live gift call. I have super chats. I have all those things. So if you'd like to support the live, I really do appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. We're going to keep this thing going, open up the phone lines, and move on to the next caller. He was a nice young man, y'all. He just, I think he needed to learn a little bit more before he was ready to have the conversation, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with starting out with a calm call. All right. We don't always have to start off with chaos. Okay. We can start with a calm call. Hello. How are you?
Hello.
Hi. How old are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. How old are you?
18.
Awesome. What year were you born?
2007, January 30. Oh, sorry, 19, sorry.
I don't math too well, but I'm like, that ain't right. Because I'd make you 20 this year. Hello, how are you?
Hey, pretty good. How are you?
Doing great. How old are you?
Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew. Question was, how old are you?
Oh, sorry. Phone cut out. I am 31.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
I am not as enthused, but I definitely did during the election, so I just thought it would be worthwhile to say something.
Do you still support him?
I mean, not necessarily, but it's I can take that position, really. So
Yeah, I don't need people to take the position, to be completely honest with you, sir. If you don't still support him,
Yeah.
I really appreciate you. I'm glad you came away from fascism and showed up on our side. That's awesome. But I don't need to sit
Yeah.
here and have the discussion with you. There's plenty of people that still do support him for me to have the conversation with.
yeah, we're
But I do appreciate you coming up, and I hope you have a wonderful day, all right?
yeah. Thanks for answering.
Yeah. Bye. He'd be 20 in 2026. Oh, that's right. I guess he would. I guess maybe he could have been 18. Oh, wait, that is right. But then why did he switch to 19? Then why did he change his answer? See, he still got... Anyways. Hello, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, how old are you?
Do you want 62?
You're 62?
Yep.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Why is that?
Why? Because, I mean, if you really think about it, he's still his... well, it doesn't matter to me what other people think anyways. But, I mean, he's accomplished what he started out to accomplish. The only thing that stepped up in his way are the Democrats, okay? He's ridding us of the illegals. I don't care if you want to call them legal, illegal. If they're criminals, they need to be gone. I have no sympathy for anybody, nobody, because
Awesome.
they don't have sympathy for other people, do they? So they don't have sympathy for our homeless on New York City streets. or our veterans that don't have anything. So therefore, I'm just looking at it as much as I can as a Christian. God also says to protect our borders. And he says if you let somebody spiritually into your land, that they will destroy your land. And that's exactly what we're doing.
That's not what the Bible says.
So there's the Bible does say that.
No, actually, the Bible
does say
specifically
that.
tells you to treat the alien in your country as one of your own. That's in Leviticus.
No, the Bible says if you let a non-believer, I'll find the verse for you.
If you let a non-believer, you do realize that the majority of the migrants that are
saying. But
ma'am,
this was in the beginning.
ma'am, the majority of the people that are being deported come from South America, which is overwhelmingly.
I know they're Christians.
Yeah, they're Christians. So the non-believer thing doesn't apply. But the Bible does say, okay, to treat the alien in your land as one of your own in Leviticus. Would you like me to pull up the verse? Is that what's necessary?
No. I totally trust you. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but at what point? To what point do we allow the alien? To what point?
I don't know. What does the Bible say?
Break ourselves.
I don't know. What does the Bible say?
I think we use common sense like we have every day. You know what I mean? So if we're getting rid of people that have been pedophiles or raped, isn't it common sense that we get rid of them?
I have no problem getting rid of those people. Well, first, I would actually prefer that they serve their sentence first, but I have no problem getting rid of those people. Okay. The problem is that's less than 3%. It's less than 3% of the people that Donald Trump is detaining, arresting.
Why are 40 million people not? You know what I mean? Why are 40 million people crazy because ICE is going in to take 3% of people out?
They're not going to take 3% of people. The 3% of the people that they're taking out are violent criminals.
Right. That's
everybody else isn't a violent criminal. And Donald Trump's ICE is taking them and putting them in concentration camps, kidnapping 5-year-old children. Thank goodness today that Liam, that 5-year-old child.
Don't go there. Do we got to believe everything they say? If they say it's racist, it's racist then?
I didn't say anything about it being racist, ma'am. I was talking, ma'am.
Well, because that 5-year-old, that was definitely, the guy was running from the law. He left his kid in his vehicle. That's not kidnapping when you leave your child and the mother won't open the door for fear she's going to get taken.
That 5-year-old?
So what news are we listening to?
Hey. I'd like to finish my sentence, please. Yeah. I don't know why you've cut me off every time. That 5-year-old was released from custody today, and the judge called his detention and the detention of the father unconstitutional. Okay, against the law, unconstitutional. Okay, both of those two things. Okay, so the entire little storyline that you're talking about is ridiculous. Okay, but even more than that, ma'am, even more than that, you calling yourself a Christian, okay, and advocating okay, for a bunch of mass agents to put a 5-year-old in a concentration camp, not going to school, not freaking being with his parents. What did that 5-year-old do?
That 5-year-old didn't do anything, but they just had parents. It's like if I make a bad decision and the county comes and takes my children away. That's acceptable?
But the mother was in the house, and the mother
so
wasn't.
If you come here illegally and then you run from the police, we have your children.
The mother was in the house and wasn't ever even detained or arrested. They took the 5-year-old anyway.
Right.
Why didn't they leave the 5-year-old with the mother?
They knocked on the door. She wouldn't answer the door.
Oh, okay. No, they did. They ended up going into the house. They went to everybody and found that there wasn't a single person in that house that was even up for detention. They talked to every single person in that house. And they still took the kid and still put the kid in a detention center.
I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that because that's not my information. My information was they took the kid because they went to the house and I don't know. Maybe somebody in the house was illegal. I don't know if it was the mother, but they wouldn't open the door.
They talked to everyone in the house.
But yes, I can call myself a Christian
and the only
because
person,
I believe you're following the Antichrist.
The only person in that house that they could even detain was the father, who was just released back into the United States today, okay, because his detention was unlawful.
You know, you're not going to get me with that because I'm not ignorant. We have federal judges that were appointed by Biden. Of course, why do you think this has been a tug of war? Because we've got these idiot libtards like the teachers and these judges that can't side. So they've divided our country. Do you understand? I used to be a Democrat. I was a Democrat. Yeah, I think Trump's a narcissist, but at least I know he's a businessman that can run a country, and he's doing a pretty damn good job. And to want to get, like every other president before him, get illegals out, do you talk about Obama getting rid of 5 million people or something? Probably
All the time.
not. But he did.
All the time.
And he they
All
built
the
those
time,
cages.
actually.
Democrats built those cages. So, you know,
yeah.
I mean, Trump might be putting them in cages, but who built those cages? He did.
Who built the
You know,
ma'am,
I
stop.
mean-
No, shh. I talk about Obama
Those-
doing things all the time, okay? I have no problem
Right.
talking about Obama doing things, okay? That's not an
It's just
issue to
like-
me
I mean,
because
it's
only
like
only one
And
of
I
us
voted for him.
Shh. You have to learn to be quiet. Okay? I'm talking,
Mhm.
it's your turn to be quiet, all right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I don't have a problem talking about things that Obama did. You know what Obama didn't do? Systematically separate families. You know what Obama didn't do? Okay. He didn't create concentration camps. You know what Obama didn't do? Okay. Obama didn't beat people up or kidnap children. Okay. Obama didn't do any of those things. We're not talking about deportation, and you talking about them as if they're the same is crazy. I'm not talking about general deportation. I'm talking about the fact that you are claiming you are a Christian. Yet you are advocating for ICE going around kidnapping children, putting them in concentration camps. You're advocating for Donald Trump's ICE murdering people by shooting them in the back, right? Or shooting them in the face in Minnesota. That's what you're advocating
Well,
for.
if you're white,
okay?
it don't matter anyway. So there's no loss yet. There's no acceptable losses yet. So they were both white. They were both losable. Do you understand? All they did was maximize their cause a little bit. But,
Wow.
you know, really? You don't think so?
Wow.
Because if that person would have been of any other
do
color
you
or
hear this,
nationality,
Do you hear this,
I
Christian?
am a Christian. I believe that you guys are following the Antichrist. I truly believe it. And you can tell me, oh, you're not a good Christian because
and who's the
you don't
Antichrist?
believe in this. And, nope, not me.
Who's the Antichrist? Just
Not
out of
me.
curiosity.
Because all I believe in is we take care of our own.
No, you
we
said
take care
I'm
of
following
America,
the Antichrist.
And
Who-
then,
hey,
no,
you
I
said-
didn't say I was. I said you are.
Yeah, who is the Antichrist?
Yes.
Who is
Well,
that?
the Democrats by far. The
all
Democrats.
of the Democrats
I mean,
together
why,
are the Antichrist.
Why? Okay, if Trump is doing nothing more, oh, okay, he's adding
Guys,
some families in
all
there.
of the Democrats
So,
are the
since
Antichrist.
that man came
That's
into
pretty
power,
impressive.
they have fought him every step of the way, haven't they? Every step of the way. Everything that man
do you
does.
have a name
we're
of
gonna
the
drop this
Antichrist?
down. Well, I call him Satan. I don't know what you want to call him, but he's going to just come back. I mean, he's already on the earth, and I just think that you people are following him. I mean,
Yeah,
and
I'm trying to
believe me,
figure
I
out
know a
who I'm
lot, too.
following, and you won't tell me.
The Antichrist. You know who the
What is
Antichrist
the name of
is.
the Antichrist? You know the Antichrist in the Bible is a singular person, right?
Well, I just feel like the Antichrist is the devil. I'm sorry.
Well, the Antichrist
You're
is not the
following
devil,
evil,
okay? Because the
okay?
Bible specifies the difference between them.
Well, I didn't read the Bible chapter by
Obviously.
chapter. As a matter of
Or
fact,
at
I'm
all.
reading Mark. So,
or at
but
all.
I still
It
feel
doesn't sound like you read the Bible at all.
But you know what? I didn't call you saying I was a theologist either. So do I feel like
Ma'am,
a good
I'm
Christian
not-
to
I'm
be
not
able
a
to say you can
theologist.
deport
I know
people
you're a
and
bad
shoot
Christian.
people in the back? When you don't listen to lawful orders given by our president, then yes, they can shoot you in the back.
What
It's
was
no
the
different
lawful
than being in
order?
war.
What was the lawful order that he was supposed to be following?
Why are they down there blowing whistles at these guys, doxing
I
them,
didn't
causing them nothing but
because of
strife?
the First Amendment.
Really?
Yeah,
Really? Because
because
it's
of the
so
First
important
Amendment.
to them. It's
Yeah,
so
because of the
important
First
to them
Amendment
that
gives
Joe
you the
Blow
right to do
doesn't
that.
get taken out. No, they're getting paid to
Yeah,
do it.
those are real
It's an
Christians.
organizational. Those are
You should-
Christians.
you
Oh
should-
my
you
Lord,
should
good dude.
observe a little
Half
bit more.
of them don't even know what
Those are
sex they are.
real
Don't tell me
Christ-
they're Christians.
Those are real
They're not
Christians.
Christians.
You know, there's like
Half
five
of them
different.
meow and bark and
Meow
tell you
and
they're
bark.
they thems. You know what? No,
You
those
know, there's
are
they
Christians.
thems
I'm
in the
sorry,
Bible,
that's-
right?
Really? Right,
Yeah.
there are they thems. Yeah, the
Yeah.
real old Bibles. You better
Yeah.
believe it. There's homosexuality in the
There's
Bible
they
too.
thems in the Bible,
Right.
but you seem to have
And
a
I
problem
don't
with
have
that part of
anything
the
against
Bible.
gay people.
Really?
But
It sounds
you know
like
what
you
I
do.
mean? What I'm saying is that it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, so the
Just
Bible,
because
so what you're telling me is
but
the Bible
somehow you're
hold
gonna
on.
tell
ma'am.
me-
So you're saying that the Bible doesn't make it right.
Doesn't make homosexuality right. What does it say about it?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Do you know when the word homosexuality was added to the Bible?
Well, it wasn't homosexuality, first off.
Do you
I
know
mean, that's
do
a
you
word
know
man
when,
developed later on.
Yeah, do you know when that was added to the Bible?
No, I don't.
Yeah, in the 1940s.
Well, I was right. Am I not right? Okay, because they didn't even know what it was. But he
If they
says when a
didn't know
man
what it
lays
was-
with a man.
Actually, if you actually
Okay,
look at the original
it says when a
translation,
man lays with a man, it's
actually
not
it
right.
doesn't say that.
Oh, bull.
Actually, in the original translation,
I
it
mean,
talks
I
about.
don't know. I've got three different Bibles
I
here.
am trying my damnedest to talk to you like an adult, and you are fighting me all the way through. But I, again, need you to please, for the love of God, breathe. Okay? Goodness gracious. The original translation talks about men laying with boys, right? Because they didn't have an idea of homosexuality back then. It was a matter of power. While Donald Trump currently, okay, is hiding a sex trafficking ring that has to do with freaking a bunch of children being trafficked by Epstein, and Donald Trump won't release the files, literally protecting it. Yet you still support him, even the Bible specifically talks against that. Or are you more of the Catholic version of the Bible, where they're more in favor of that?
Catholics are in favor of molesting children.
Well,
I mean, no,
Christians are too.
I
but
am not a Catholic, but I mean, that's basically what you're doing is slamming other religions other than
No, ma'am,
thou
I'm slamming.
art thou.
Ma'am, I can't be slamming another religion. You don't even know your own religion. I'm
Do I not
literally-
know my
I
own
am-
religion? I know
I
my
am
religion.
literally teaching you your religion right now. Because you don't
The
know
only
anything about it.
religion I need is
You're like,
believing.
this is literally what you have told me so far, is that the Bible doesn't say what the Bible says about immigration. Then you use the Bible to justify 5-year-olds getting put into detention centers. And now you're justifying your Christianity with Donald Trump not releasing the Epstein files to be able to prosecute people that traffic children. So far, those are the three things that you've used your Christianity in order to justify. So no, I don't think that
Really,
you're a
I have.
Christian, nor do I think that you know your
I
Bible
think that
whatsoever.
You just talk a lot faster than me, and you want to talk more than me. You've learned nothing since we talked. One thing is
What
you should
could
open your
I
eyes.
possibly learn from you?
I'm really surprised that I've watched your YouTube channel as much as I have, because I thought you were kind of middle of the road,
I'm
kind of
surprised
down the way,
you've watched
but you're
it this
not.
much.
You are so
I'm
far left.
surprised-
Are you even in
I'm
Minnesota?
surprised
I
you've
mean,
watched my live this much and you still learned nothing. That's what's impressive.
Yeah, no, I would learn nothing from that. I actually would be probably kicked off. A few times I've been kicked off because I don't understand. It's like Officer Tatum, the new shirt he's got out, white liberal women need to be deported, and it's true. Because they're all brain dead. They're all brain dead. I watch the women down there, and I'm like, well, a bullet in your head wouldn't bother anybody, and it wouldn't. Nobody would give a rat's ass, and you've seen it twice now. So, but wait if they kill somebody of color, you see what happens. So then the whole world will break loose.
They
They'll
have
burn
killed-
everything
they
down.
have
So
killed-
it'll be interesting. But you
They
are
already-
the party of the hate,
they've
man.
already
I'm
killed
telling you,
multiple
you
people of
don't see
color.
us out every day.
Hey, ma'am,
It's
they've already
20 below
killed
weather.
multiple people of color.
Oh.
They've already killed multiple people of color. What are you talking about?
Well, I know.
I mean, like Keith Porter, the
know.
53-year-old man that was strangled to death by ICE in a detention center and like that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. If I watch CNN all day, I might have heard about that, but I haven't even heard that out of CNN.
I wouldn't know.
So,
I don't watch CNN, nor
you
does
know what
really
I mean?
anybody else.
I watch ground.news. I try to stay informed on both sides, but I don't get the left anymore. You know, you guys, this is your cool way. Let's all be concerned about Madami getting elected in New York, because he's already screwing up New York. But all the while, 6 other Muslims got elected. But we didn't even see them sneak that in there, because the real problem is the Muslim Brotherhood. That's what it all comes down to. So if you want to call me racist. But they not only come over here and rip us off, but they plan to take our land too. So, and you can say whatever you want, but Nick Shirley was completely right to call out the fraud in Minnesota, and it's going to be in every Democratic state completely. You
just to be
guys,
clear,
they're all fraudulent and they're all dirty. And I'm glad that at
I'm
least
gonna have
I
to go
can
ahead and
win.
mute you because you're saying too much shit. Okay. All right. You
Time,
do
and I hope your
realize
life is great.
a lot better than yours, ma'am. Okay, that I can promise you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Goodness gracious. Holy shit. Y'all, please make sure y'all hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I don't even... I don't... Y'all, thank y'all so much for being here. That was wild. That was wild. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna keep this thing going, y'all. That was that was rough. Betty, thank you so much. The $2 in MAGA would tell a homeless veteran to get a job. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? Tad, thank you so much for the $5. Said, as a vet, please stop using us as a pawn. Also, if you could eat one Pokemon, which one would you eat and why? Squirtle. I will not be answering questions on why. Just Me, thank you so much for the $10. Mighty Pin, thank you so much for the $2. Y'all, if y'all would like support, I do have super chats. I have super stickers, all that fun stuff. I have my pay links in the bio. They're all at Polypolitics.
Insane.
They're all at Polypolitics, just like my name, so I really appreciate that. And I have my little live gift goal since we're back over there on that one. But thank you so much. Yeah, the Mighty Pin. Yeah, that was a power. The Antichrist is, we worship the Antichrist, who also we don't know who that is. Big fans of the Antichrist, not sure who that Antichrist is. That was very confusing. Thanks, Mighty. Robs, thank you so much. Said, vote for me, Antichrist. Yo, can we get some 666s in the chat? Can we get some 666s and some Hail Satan in the chat? Since apparently I'm over here worshiping the Antichrist, who is the same as Satan, apparently, according to that guess. Shush, thank you so much. CJ, thank you so much. Just Me, thank you so much for the $20. Said, this is woman is the exact reason why Trump loves the poorly educated. Yeah, that was, I'm angry that I'm going to have to watch that later so I can clip it, but I am going to have to do that. But good God, that was rough. Please make sure y'all hit that follow button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys. I can't believe I'm going to have to watch that later, to be able to do it. We're gonna move on to the next caller. Hopefully get a little freaking something better than that. Wow, that was rough. Hello, how are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm excellent. How old are you?
I'm 39.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
I do. I did vote for him, but like, you know, what I support is the border being closed. You know how closed the border is, right?
Do I know how? Yes, I do. I am very aware that a bunch of people that really need to get here for their safety cannot get in here, and it's very sad.
Well, morally, I get that, but I mean, for me, the win is, you know, I do support him because of that. What I don't support is bombing Iran.
Why do you support Donald Trump not letting legal people that are legally allowed to come here? Why do you support them not coming here?
Because they're not legally allowed to come here. I mean, you can read any law, but like
8 U.S. Code 1158.
You just come from a moral standpoint, though. I'm just talking from a legal standpoint.
No, we are talking from a legal standpoint. 8 U.S. Code 1158.
No. If you don't have a border, you don't have anything, man.
I didn't say.
It's the reason why you lock your door. It's the reason why you have a fence.
That's not what I said, sir. That's not what I said. I didn't say we
So-
shouldn't have a border. I didn't say you shouldn't lock your doors. You definitely should. What I said was, why are you against people coming here that are legally allowed to come here? I'm not making a
To
moral
seek
argument.
asylum,
The law says
to seek
that.
asylum, sure, yeah, but to be like to come here and then to like have permanent residence as an anchor baby or so on, and just to suck our social, our social programs dry is just ridiculous. You know what I mean? I live in California,
Well,
San Jose
no.
Bay Area, right?
Well, hold
and
on,
I work
hold on.
40 hours a week, and I'm homeless, and it's like, I stay with my
You
parents
should not
when I
be
have
on
my
TikTok.
kid,
Yeah.
but I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, you shouldn't be on YouTube either. If you're homeless and have a kid, you should be out pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. But regardless,
Buddy,
sir,
I can't.
but
I can't get the help
regardless,
because it's
those
going
people
to people
that
who
you-
shouldn't get it.
those people that you call anchor babies, okay, are
Yeah.
legally allowed to be here due to the Constitution. So again, legally, they are supposed to be here, right? And on top
No,
of that,
they're not supposed to be here. They're allowed to seek asylum.
Nope. Those
But
are
if they
two
don't
different
qualify,
people.
they need to get out. But as you know, most people overstay their asylum, or most people overstay their visas, and that's where the problem entails.
Yeah.
You might
Anchor
know that.
babies aren't asylum seekers, okay? Asylum seekers are allowed in the country due to 8 U.S. Code 1158.
Asylum seekers come.
I'm
they
in the
stay-
middle
they
of
stay
my
as they're welcome,
sentence.
and then
I'm
they have
in the
babies.
middle of my sentence. Thank you. Okay. The people that you call anchor babies are here legally based off the 14th Amendment. Those are two completely different reasons why people are legally here. Okay. So I don't know how you're making the correlation between them. But besides that, right, when it comes to the federal social safety nets, undocumented immigrants don't get any of them. And with the documented immigrants that do get them, well overpay for them. Actually, they actually end up putting a lot of money into social safety nets that actually go to American citizens that they can't get, right? But when you talk about specifically places like California, who do have more social safety nets for undocumented immigrants and documented immigrants, the reason why they do that is because it's actually cheaper for the taxpayer of California in order to get them for them. But I don't think there's any programs that they can get that you can't. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Like what?
There's programs that are set up specifically to help people who are undocumented or illegal.
And there's
You know,
programs
I
that are
mean,
set up
if you're
specifically for American citizens too. Not for those people.
Even for me, right? I work 40 hours a week, right? And sometimes more, but I don't qualify because I make too much money. But like when it comes to the national poverty line, I'm well under that. But I just live in one of the richest counties in America. Santa Clara County.
So again, undocumented immigrants also work 40 hours a week, and they also pay their taxes because in California, undocumented immigrants can get ITINs. And we're not even talking about those people. We're
immigrants
talking
do not
about
pay taxes. Illegal immigrants get Social Security taken out, but that just goes somewhere and it just goes into the dark,
okay.
deep tunnels.
How about this?
Of
How about this?
wherever
I'm going to
this
give
money
you about
goes.
like 15 seconds to just talk. That way, when
Okay.
I start talking, you don't.
Great.
Go.
Okay. So illegal aliens, they do get Medicare, Medicaid. They do get help from social services, okay? And I know this because I know many people living in this area going to school. And so, I mean, you're just incredibly incorrect when it comes to them not getting any social services or any help. It's just they get more than the average citizen.
Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. I was in the middle of a sentence addressing what you just said. If you would just let me talk, we could have already been past this.
All right.
All right, perfect. What I was saying, sir, is that the social safety nets federally, they do not get. What I said was in states like California, they do. I already said this part, so I don't know why you're arguing it with me, right? I said in California they do, and I said the reason why they do is because it's cheaper for the people of California, right? Because when you have laws like EMTALA and other laws, right, that require, healthcare to be given, it's actually cheaper to give like Medi-Cal to undocumented immigrants than to end up paying for their healthcare on the back end on emergency situations. So that's why they do it. It's
No.
not, nope. See, that was our rule. Okay. But on top of that, California is one of the states that does allow undocumented immigrants to have I-10 numbers, right? And to get things like driver's licenses. So they actually do pay federal and state taxes in the state of California. They don't just have little Social Security taken out. They're allowed to pay full taxes. I mean, we can even look at Donald Trump using the IRS to go after undocumented immigrants. But I don't know what any of that really has to do with anything because, again, sir, we're here talking about people that seek asylum and people that you refer to as anchor babies. And neither of them fall into, like, neither of what we're talking about falls into those categories. I'm still asking you why you have the problem with those people.
Those are just two of many examples of how people use the system to get here.
But those are the two we're
Just
talking
two.
about, and those are the two I'm asking you why you have a problem with.
Because this is America, buddy. Okay, and the thing is that we do have laws that prevent people coming from other countries to overstay their allocated time, whether it be a visa, whether it be asylum, whether it be whatever reason. And when people overstay this, then we need to get them out. But they still continue to get the help, not just from, you're saying California and New York, but also sanctuary cities. I mean, there's red states that have sanctuary cities that also have social programs that help illegal aliens.
Okay. Well, again, sir, this has nothing to do with what we were talking about, and you've moved to the goalpost so far. I don't know if you remember where it's at. So let me inform you. Okay. Sound good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just being
Okay.
respectful, and you're just kind of
No, it's not a matter of being
Why you feel
respectful,
like
sir. You're just
snarky.
not responding to anything that we're talking about. And every time I try to actually ask you a genuine question, you just move the goalpost to the next group of people, and then the next group of people, and then the next group of people, and then you never actually ever address anything that we're talking about. Okay.
Well, the
And
whole
you can
group of people are not Americans.
Well,
We're
sir,
talking about all
sir,
of them. It's
sir.
all relevant.
Sir, you can respectfully ignore my questions and move the goalpost, and that's totally fine. I'm glad you're respectfully doing it, and I am going to respectfully bring you back to the part of the conversation that you're missing, okay?
All right.
All right, cool. When we started talking about was you were talking about Donald Trump closing the border, okay? What Donald Trump has done, okay, is stopped people from coming here legally. He has completely shut down ports of entry for legal migrants into this country. Okay, because guess what? The undocumented immigrants,
not
the people
okay.
that were sneaking around, that was already illegal. Okay, we were already, when Donald Trump took office, at numbers of immigration and border crossings that were lower than what Donald Trump's was in the first term. So in order for him
No,
to
that's
stop
not
border
true.
it is true.
No,
It is
not.
true. I'm not asking your opinion.
No, it's not.
Okay, gotcha. So you're right.
Dude,
hold on, no,
a
sir.
minimum of 12
you
million people that came, okay? And it's more likely that it's
There's-
plus 20 million that came in that 4-year span. What are you talking about?
There's not 12. There might not be 12 million people that have been here in the last 50 years. What are you talking about? The estimated
Okay.
amount of undocumented immigrants in the entire country over the last 50 years that have come in is between 12 and 14 million.
No, that's not true.
It
That
is
so
true.
not true.
It
That
is
so-
true.
that- there was a minimum of 12 million people that came in the past 4 years. I don't know where you're getting your numbers from.
12
but
million
again, numbers
undocumented
are more
immigrants
like
or
20
12
million.
million or 12 million immigrants in total?
12
Either-
million
They're both
illegal
wrong.
aliens.
No, that is just factually incorrect.
But when you frame it as undocumented, you move the goalpost yourself because, I mean, by the law, they are illegal aliens. So I don't know why you changed the the name.
What
It's just
law
like a
says that
cute
they're
little game. It's-
what law says that they're illegal aliens?
I can't cite you a penal
Because
code,
there
but they're
isn't
illegal
one.
aliens.
There
That's
is
what
not
you
one.
refer
No,
to them as.
there is not one. There is not a singular law that refers to them as illegal aliens. They refer to them as aliens, right? That's it, right? And all I am saying
Right.
is that they are aliens.
And then when you come here illegally, that would make you an illegal alien. I mean, it all kind of,
does someone that overstays their visa, like you were just talking about, come here illegally?
not just that, but just that they come
I asked you a
illegally,
question,
just
sir. So
cross
are
the
they
border
illegal
illegally.
aliens if they came here illegally?
And they overstay their visa, yes.
Under what law?
But I can't tell you what law, dude.
Because
I'm
it
not a
doesn't
lawyer, dude.
exist.
Okay.
Because it doesn't exist. Sir, you're making that claim because it does better for you to call them illegal. You're the one moving the goalpost. I understand that people aren't illegal. Okay? Just like I don't call Donald Trump an illegal citizen, even though he's a felon. right? But I don't refer to him as an illegal citizen, right?
felon.
Even though he's
What are you
literally
talking
been
about?
even though he's literally been convicted of 34 felonies, right?
In a
He's
New
just-
York
he's
state law
Sir,
with
sir,
what's
sir,
his
sir,
Comey's
please stop-
daughter. And
please stop-
come on, dude.
please stop trying to
Come
move
on,
the
open your
goalposts.
eyes.
Please stop trying to move the goalposts, sir.
I'm not. I'm
No,
just
you
telling
are.
you facts,
Listen.
brother.
No, you sir, you don't know any facts. So it's probably better for you to just listen. Okay? So, I don't call him an illegal citizen. He's a citizen who did
Because that would
something
make you
illegal.
stupider than you really are. That would make you sound stupider than
All
you
right,
are.
sir.
if
I'm
you
trying to
said
have a
that.
conversation with you, and I'm about done with it if you're going to act like a child. Okay?
Okay, you have a
I
good
can just
one,
move
brother.
on to someone else.
No, I appreciate your time. Have a good one.
I don't appreciate yours. Go away. All right, thank you. So people aren't illegal. All right, they commit illegal actions. Right. That's all I'm saying. Is that somebody, even somebody who came in this country, without documentation. All right, may have done something illegally. That doesn't make people illegally, and it's not moving the goalpost to say that. But you need that. You guys need that. Y'all, please make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Woo, thank you guys so much. We're going to keep this thing going. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. We do this almost every day. Welcome to the stream if you're new here, by the way. All good things. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Also said prayers going up to that Antichrist, apparently. And Tariq, thank you so much for the $20. Said that was rough. Wow, that lady was insane. Yeah, she was struggling. I think grandma must have gotten into the liquor cabinet. That might have been grandson that was next. I'm not sure. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. How old are you?
19.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yes.
Awesome. Why is that?
Well, I think for number one, I would say he has stopped a couple of wars. I would say he has kind of made the USA safer. What would you say about that?
What wars?
Oh, one, I would say, let's see. One, Armenia versus Azerbaijan. He stopped that war. The second war would be, let's see. I would say probably that war. I don't know. What else?
It's just that's the one of the wars that's like literally makes the least sense because they weren't like actually at war. I mean, they had like a dispute or something, but they weren't even at war. I'm pretty sure. Like,
I mean, like, didn't like many people die?
many people die all sorts of places in all sorts of countries. It doesn't mean they're at a war.
He has, like, I would say, wouldn't you agree that mentally ill people from other places shouldn't be in the United States, especially dangerous people?
Yeah, but you guys voted Trump in anyway.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you a question. If Kamala Harris was voted, what would she do for the United States first?
Fuck, dude. If she did absolutely nothing, it would be better than what we're doing right now.
Okay, what is Kamala's biggest accomplishment?
What is Kamala Harris's largest accomplishment? I don't know. You'd have to ask
Yeah.
her. I would assume probably being the vice president of the frickin' United States. That'd be my guess.
But what did she do for the United States?
Reduced asylum seeking by friggin' 50% coming from the Northern Triangle. Was the tie-breaking vote in the largest infrastructure bill in American history. Did sponsored bills that friggin' help to improve life for veterans and all sorts of things. What are you talking about?
Okay, so how would she make America safe?
Who said America wasn't safe?
Like, they talked to her about the borders and stuff, and she said she hasn't been doing anything about the borders.
It's not her job to do anything about the borders. She was the vice president.
So whose job is it?
What's
Whose job
JD
is it?
Vance doing about the border right now?
I don't know.
Why not? He's the vice president. Apparently, he should be fixing the border or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Vice president's job is not the border. Yeah.
So whose job is it?
That'd be the Secretary of Homeland Security.
Hmm. I see. Well, okay, here's what I would say. I don't agree that people should get, I don't agree that immigrants should get deported, but don't you think that people who are mentally ill should not come in this country?
You do realize that the whole thing about Donald Trump, like saying that they're releasing people from insane asylums, is that Donald Trump didn't know what asylum was. He literally did not know what asylum was. So he started telling people that people were being released from insane asylums. And it was literally just because he thought someone seeking asylum is somebody that came from an insane asylum. That's literally what he thought. He didn't know the difference between freaking like legal like immigration asylum and an insane asylum. That's like really what happened.
I see. No, I'm not like against you or anything. I'm not like your, enemy. I'm just here to have a conversation. Just kind of understand,
Yeah, sure, man. I just it's just like it just this is just this is a conversation that does happen. But I am gonna move on to the next person. I hope you stick around and listen in, and maybe we can have another conversation another time. Okay.
All right. Thank you, I guess.
All right. Bye-bye. Y'all hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you'd like to support, I do have super chats and live gift goals. We just cleared that hat and mustache. I appreciate that. And pay links in the bio. All the pay links at Polypolitics. I appreciate you guys. Hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
I am 35.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
There are some things that I do with Trump, yes, and a lot of things no.
Yeah, but sir, do you generally support Donald Trump? I mean, I'm not asking if you can find something good that he did. Like I make the example all the time is that the economy, bloomed in Germany under Hitler. Does that mean it was a yes and maybe a yes and a no that we like him?
No, I definitely don't think that would qualify, that area of what Hitler did. And I think the biggest problem that we have right now as a society is that our population is so undereducated in politics that it has become a political divide based on a popularity contest of who likes who and who can offer what. I think we need to come together as a nation and get on the same side and become united and put people in our government that are intended to be for the people.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did.
Well, then you don't believe anything that you just said.
Well, it's kind of between the bad and the worst in this situation, and neither one of those two candidates were very good.
So let's get this straight. Donald Trump was a 34 times felon, right? Who was adjudicated of sexual assault, who defrauded a children's cancer charity, who sexualized his daughter, who sexualized a 10-year-old, who is currently covering up the Epstein files, who's been sued over 4,000 times, who's bankrupted multiple businesses. And that is somehow worse. Like Kamala Harris was somehow worse. How?
Kamala Harris had her own set of issues, just like Trump does.
Sure.
I wanted to vote independent. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. But you said you had the choice between bad and worse. You chose bad. So now, how is Kamala Harris worse than that?
I didn't say who was bad and who was worse.
So you're saying you had bad and worse and chose the worst candidate on purpose?
Well, you know what? I think for an economic boost, Trump is the way to go. I definitely don't think that we have a great option either way. I think that on the Democratic side, they are way more into doing government-backed. My goodness, I'm like having a stroke trying to think tonight. Doing a lot of government-backed, not policies. I don't know why I can't search for the word I'm looking for right now, but programs to give back to the community and use a lot of taxpayer funds, therefore increasing the tax rate. Trump does a lot of bad loopholes and does a lot of bad, tax breaks for the rich, and I don't necessarily agree for that either. But I think on a purely economic basis, that Trump was the lesser of the two evils, but they're both bad candidates. Let's say we can agree on that.
No, we're not going to agree on that whatsoever, sir, because Donald Trump put us into a recession. Donald Trump has us at the highest unemployment rate since the shutdown of the COVID. Donald Trump lost 1 million jobs last year. Donald Trump had put us into a stagnated economy. Okay, Donald Trump has done all of those things to absolutely destroy the economy, right? Like not only his first term, but it's heading in negative directions right now. I don't think Donald Trump has ever done a good thing for the economy, not to mention the fact that while he's given these giant corporate tax cuts, we're literally at an all-time spending level where he's already added $4 trillion to the national debt just this term to add to his over $8 trillion that he had in his first term. I still don't understand how you take that and then you look at somebody like Biden at the end of his term. And yeah, we had COVID, which was horrible, right? And it destroyed the world economically. But literally by the time Biden left office, we had in 2024, we had a 2.4%. Inflation rate at one point. I think we had a 3.4% or 3.5% unemployment rate, or maybe that was the other way around. Anyways, I can't remember, but we had literally a record low freaking unemployment rate. We had a great freaking inflation rate, right? We were building jobs at a substantial rate. Like every single month was over and over and over, like a new good number. I think there was like 16 million jobs created under the Biden administration. I just don't understand how, if you're looking at those two things, right? And you try to pick one.
It's insane.
You picked the person who literally stagnated our economy and put us in a recession, and you're saying that person is bad, is like somehow better for us economically. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, I think that, first of all, I don't think that Biden did a good or bad job. I think he did some really great things, just like Obama did some really great things, and Trump in his first term did some good things. I think right now this has turned into a pissing match for Trump. And it's a egotistical warfare that he's raging upon the people. But if you look strictly at policies that they wanted to implement, I looked at Trump's policies and I looked at Kamala's policies. And I felt like Trump's was better for the economies. And now that he's in, absolutely didn't hold up on his end of the bargain. And that's why I circle back to the original statement I made. We need to gather as one, as a United States, and put people into politicians' seats that are making the decisions for the people, not for themselves.
Donald Trump has literally only ever made decisions as president for himself, and you voted him in. Okay? Kamala Harris has spent her entire life, and I'm not even saying Kamala Harris would have been a good candidate, but Kamala Harris literally spent her entire life dedicated to the people, dedicated to public service. Okay, look at the policies that were implemented under the Biden administration. What do you think they're good? What do you think they're bad? Whether you think whatever about them. Okay, it was literally policy for veterans, policy for infrastructure, policies for healthcare, policies that actually went back to the people. Look at Kamala Harris when she was like the DA or when she was a senator, right? All of her policies, they were to reduce recidivism rates or to keep young programs to keep young people out of crime and other things like that, right? Donald Trump, his entire life, has been about making decisions for himself, about putting his name on buildings, on building tall gold buildings. And now he's currently doing the same thing. He's accepting things like $400 million jets from Qatar, right? Straight up getting gold bricks from Tim Cook. He's literally currently suing the American taxpayer for $250 million for suing the Justice Department. And he's trying to sue the IRS to literally take taxpayer money and put it directly in his pocket, right? And his policies in his first term only went to freaking enrich himself to begin with also. He freaking had a massive increase in his net worth on this first term, right? So, and Donald Trump, on top of that, in his first term, all the policies that he promised wasn't able to accomplish any of them. The only thing he was able to accomplish is a huge decrease in the corporate tax rate. That's it, okay? So when Donald Trump comes up and he's trying to run for office in this term, He has a history of only being for himself. He has a history of not getting any of his policies done whatsoever. Okay. Not to mention that his policies made no logical sense. If you have any understanding whatsoever of, I don't know how any of this stuff works, like drill baby drill is not a good policy, right? It doesn't even make sense.
Nope.
Right?
I agree with that.
But these are the policies that you voted for him on. So which policy did he say he was going to do that you actually believed he was going to do that he wasn't able to get done?
So I want to sidebar this for 1 millisecond. And I want to say that, first of all, I love you. I love what you're doing. I love that you're opening up eyes to everybody, right? So I just want to start with that. Second of all, I'm a small business owner. So on that regards, there were some things in there regarding small businesses that seemed like it was going to help, right? I struggle on a daily basis. I work regularly. I'm not out here making millions of dollars. I own a flooring company. This is a very small business in the United States. And just like everybody else, I'm trying to live that American dream, right? So when you look at policies that are intended to help out those in the United States, I love it. I really do. But it's not imaginary money that's paying for those policies. It's our tax dollars at work, which I still support and love those. I want to make that abundantly clear. Those are great programs, and we should have those. I still think, well, first of all, going back to your earlier question, I don't think Trump is a good candidate. I don't think Kamala was a good candidate. I think an independent party would have been a good candidate, would have been a wasted vote. I don't believe in not voting. I think that for me, it just kind of was not a great option either way, and I would have loved to vote independent, but I didn't want to throw my vote in the trash. So that's to answer your question about what policies I saw. I can't cite exactly which ones, but there were a lot geared towards small businesses.
Yeah, and I would just like to be clear that Donald Trump's policies, okay, the policies that he ran on, all right, like the tariffs and stuff like that, put nearly like a million, or sorry, I forgot the number. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. It was something ridiculous. 900 and something thousand small businesses closed in 2025 alone due to Donald Trump's policies, right? I think it was 900 or something. I can pull up the exact number and I will in a second, right? As I kind of pull this up. But Donald Trump's policies were never pro small business. They were pro large business. Okay. Because a lot of these small businesses rely on things like people having money in their pocket, right? Because people don't replace the flooring in their house when they don't have money. Second of all, I assume that a lot of the flooring that you get probably doesn't come from this country. Right?
No,
it probably comes from other countries. Well, now your product is probably more expensive, and if it's not already more expensive, it's going to be more expensive as long as these tariffs come across, right? Therefore, increasing your prices, which makes it even less likely that people are going to buy your flooring, right? And for you to be able to run your small business. But these aren't things that were like, last second, you voted him in and then he started doing all these things. These are exactly the policies that he ran on. Right. So these little things for small businesses are the things that you ran on. Right. The thing about Democratic policies is what they do. All right. And again, I'm not a Democrat. All right. At all. But what Democratic policies aim to do is to tax corporations, large corporations especially, the correct amount that they should be taxed already. And then to take that money and use it for economic social safety nets that put money back into the pockets of the middle class. Those middle class people now have the ability to have more expendable income, and then they do things like replace their flooring. All right. And so that's why it's so important, right? That's why it is so important to understand the policies. But the more important thing is that Donald Trump has never passed a policy that has benefited the middle class more than the upper class. Never. Even in the TCJA, it overwhelmingly benefited the upper class more than it benefited the middle class. And in the current one with the big disastrous bill, right? Again, the policies in there overwhelmingly support the upper class more than they support the middle class, more than they support small businesses. I also agree that we need to do better at supporting small businesses in this country, businesses like yours, businesses that where if we actually gave them a tax cut, they actually probably would use it in order to, hire more people or expand their businesses or be able to, and build another location or, to, give bonuses to their people to actually support the middle class. All right. But that takes a very specific level of policy, and billionaires aren't the people to do that.
Nope. I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And like I said, have I liked a handful, maybe less than a handful of things that Trump has done? Yes. the presidencies for the last 20 years have all kind of sucked in their own ways, and they've all kind of brought some good in their own ways. I think Clinton did a lot of good things before he did a lot of bad things. There's some things in these that are here, and that's why I circle back to my other argument and why I love what you're doing right now. I think we need to put people in place that are going to support us, the people. And even maybe Kamala, however you can see the chat blowing up, pissed off that I'm mispronouncing her name, and I do apologize to everybody out there. But I think we need to put people in place that are for the people. The government was intended to govern the people, to be, first responders, to be infrastructure supports, to be, Army Corps of Engineers. It was never intended to be what it is now. I think we are so bloated in the government that it is causing mass overreach, and we need to circle back. I think our inflation is out of control, and it has been for the last probably 10 years, since at least, I'll even say almost since 2010. I know we hit that bubble in '08, and then it just kind of started to hit up again back after that. I think we need to come together as a nation and stop being so divided and start looking for people that are going to be in office that want the best for the American people. And I hate what Trump is doing with the border. I have a lot of guys that are over here on visas that want to be here in America, and it is killing me to watch these people fear for their lives every day when they're over here trying to work as hard as they possibly can, start families. They want nothing more than to be into the American system, and we are deporting these people like they're cockroaches. It is appalling and disgusting what is happening right now. We need to change our policies and make it more accessible for immigrants to gain access to America.
Well, sir, I would love to come together with everybody. Unfortunately, sir, you have made it where that is impossible. Okay, you and other people like you that voted the way you did have made it impossible for us to come together. Okay, you might have thought Kamala Harris would have been a bad candidate. I don't know. I have no idea whether she would have, but we could have come together, right? Or y'all could have voted in some other Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, hell, even dumb Vivek Ramaswamy, right? You could have voted a Republican, and then maybe we could have come together. Okay, what you voted in, all right, is somebody who has spent his time in office, right, demeaning people, treating people like trash, calling people garbage, quoting Hitler. All right. Somebody who has the ability to treat people, like you said, like cockroaches, to shoot American citizens in the back, to kidnap 5-year-olds and put them in detention centers when they've been in school, and has decided that he has no will to change any of that. Hasn't fired a single person, hasn't done that. Has someone like Stephen Miller, like a known neo-Nazi, right? Like that freaking literally as is on tape talking about how racist he is, right? And how he only wants everybody in America to look like him, right? That's like we have that already on tape, right? And you voted for that, and people like you, okay, voted for that and put him in office. Okay. So now, instead of America being able to come back together, I have to be here fighting against the fascist, authoritarian, anti-human, anti-empathetic things, right, that are happening to human beings that violate human rights, and about 5, 6, 7 different articles of the Constitution that are blatantly against the law, that are literal human rights violations, that the only reason that Donald Trump doesn't have a freaking date with the ICC for fucking war crimes is because we're the United States, and that's it. Okay. So if you want to come together, that's totally great. All right. That's totally awesome. You should have thought of that before you voted Donald Trump in. All right. And now we have to wait 3 more years before we can even start mending that, if we have a country to mend after 3 years, which I hope we do, but it's not looking great. All right.
I want to ask you a question. In your lifetime, have you ever made a mistake?
Yes. Tons of them. More than you could imagine, sir. More than you could imagine.
Did you learn from that mistake?
Did I learn from that mistake? Some of them. Some of them I repeated again.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
but sir, the mistake was the mistake. The mistake was electing Donald Trump in 2016. That's why I give people credit all the time when they say I voted for Donald Trump in 2016. I go, look, he was shitty, but we didn't know what we were dealing with. Okay? He was a new candidate, and we didn't know what we were dealing with. The second time we knew what we were dealing with, we had his generals saying that he was trying to take the U.S. military and put him against the American people, right? We had the people in there saying that he tried to do all of this stuff in his first term and was stopped, all right, by great Americans who put their foot down and wouldn't violate the Constitution in order to appease Donald Trump. So the first time it was a mistake. I'm sure fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, or whatever George Bush tried to say. Fool me, you can't get fooled again, right? You had an open book test. Okay,
Sure.
that was the mistake. You made it again. You don't get the mistake again, sir. You can come back over on our side and you can try to fix it with us. Okay, but
That's
you
what I'm
don't
trying
get
to
credit for a
across to you,
mistake. Yep.
Is that's fine. That's fine. I can own my mistakes. I have no problem. I'm a big boy. But one of the things that I learned is that I didn't know politics before when I voted for Trump the second time. I didn't know politics at all before I voted, right? I was one of the ones who's guilty of being the uneducated and out there voting based on who seems to be the popular opinion. You know, very outrageous woman call just a few calls ago. And that seems to be the general public's deception of how politics work, right? It's, well, Jesus said that's the guy and that's the way to go. And not that I fell into that trap, but I definitely fell into people say Trump's doing this and that's great for this. And I believed in that. And then I started looking into it and I said, wow, this is not the greatest way to go. I think that there's a lot of things on just any mainstream party candidate that first of all, I don't think that we could even get in and make a massive change in government. I think that there's so many stops in place for them to prevent us from being able to make massive amounts of change. And I think it's by design. But I think if we get in and start doing the right thing for the nation, maybe we will have an America to fight for in the next couple of years.
Well, we can only hope so, sir. And I do believe that a lot of people voted, and when they vote, they are uneducated. And hopefully people get educated. Hopefully we can teach some people through some stuff like this. But I'm going to move on to the next caller, but I hope you have a good one, all right?
You too, brother. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Bye. All right, y'all, please make sure y'all hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Erica, thank you so much for that lead countdown. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I actually don't even think I've seen that one yet. Thank you so much for that. All right. I'm always sweating. It's always hot in this freaking office. All right, we're going to keep this thing moving, keep this thing going. We're going to move on to the next caller. Dragon, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Said, guys, I know I messed up, but we have to work together to fix the mess I helped make. You weren't thinking about being a team when you voted. Well, I think what he was trying to tell us was he wasn't thinking. If you want to be completely honest. And you know what? I think the sad part is that I think a lot of people weren't thinking, right? That's the problem. You should be thinking. It's important to think. It's important to understand what's going on. These are important things. But y'all are right. I'm seeing a lot of people like, at least he was coherent. Like, I mean, after that lady we had earlier, like,
insane.
I'm just happy that I didn't get told I was, at least I didn't get told I was, worshiping the Antichrist and Satan, the Antichrist Satan. So, it was a little bit better. Sheep, thank you so much for the jewels. Quaz, thank you so much for the $2. Said hot take, but I completely support the caller right now. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. We don't have hate for things like that. Glad you supported the caller. And B, thank you so much for the $5. Said I give him credit. That's exactly where I was in high school, except I wasn't old enough to vote for him. I've done a full 180. Oh, again, y'all, I can be annoyed by his decisions, and I can bad, but there's nothing we can do about it now. Donald Trump is the president. He did the vote. All we can do now is just hope that he learned from his mistakes, and he sounded like he did. So I can at least give him credit for that. Okay? I can at least give him credit for owning up to his mistakes, because that's not something that Trump supporters do, really. Ever. At all. For anything. Ever.
It's insane.
To be completely honest with you. So, they're real bad about that. Truthfully. So the fact that he did that, at least we got to give him credit for that, right? Thank you so much, Beat. And Wake Up said the worst are the ones that say they came from the left. that it's not the worst. It's just like you think I'm giving you credit for that, and I'm not, right? If you were already on the side of like good, strong policies that helped Americans, and then you moved over away from that, I just don't give you don't. I think that a lot of people think that they get credit for that, and they don't. Does that make sense? You just don't. But thank you so much, Wake Up. I appreciate that. Hello, how are you?
Good, sir. How are you tonight?
I'm doing excellent. How old are you?
How old am I?
Yes.
I am 40 years old.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
So I wanted to preface something because I do love your show. My question is, how do we know the difference between what we're hearing is true or false, especially with the media? Because I can support Trump in certain things, but other things I could easily see him as being the next Hitler.
I'm sorry. Could you just can you give me the question, please? I'm sorry. I think I'm missing the question there. The question was, what was the question?
My question is simply this: how do we differentiate between what is truth and what is false on either side of the issue when what we see on television or social media or even your platform, how do we know which way to go?
Okay, so first of all, and I tell people all the time, right? Just because I'm on here doesn't, like, you should be checking anything I say. If I say something, it don't sound right, go look it up. Okay? And if I'm wrong, you should be correcting me, right? I have a Discord, I have sources and stuff in there. Correct me. I'm not always right? But it's important to research, right? It's important to look into things, right? Like, I must have, a couple dozen different, news apps and all sorts of stuff, both on the right, left, independent, major news networks, and I check all of them, back them up, and then I look for their data sources and all this sort of stuff that goes past that, right? So you have to be able to do research and actually see what you're talking about, right? And then sometimes it's just the common sense test, right? Like, if something sounds crazy, then check out and see if it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone tells you 20 million immigrants came in 4 years, you should probably be like, that doesn't sound like a logical number. Maybe we should look into that number. And then you can go out and find the data, and the data is pretty readily available, right? So I would just say, don't take people on their word. Take people on what you can research.
Yes, sir. 100%. I agree with that. I'm still going to go back to my original question. Is you said that you have, and I am not at all saying that Trump and his administration is right in all of this, nor am I going to say they're wrong in everything also. Like, I'm a veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
It's okay. I'm going to thank you anyway, but continue.
Yeah, I think that all the veterans I've served with, we've all come to the same conclusion at the end of the day is government is broken. And when I see people I served with lose their lives for something you see where I'm going with this? Like,
yeah, you don't have to keep going on it, man. I was just thanking you for your service. You can.
Yeah.
So, no worries.
Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, at the beginning, I voted for the lesser of two evils. And at the end of the day, I feel like the argument to be made is there's morals that, like you said, I'm going to quote you on this, is common sense, right? There are common sense issues that we are dealing with that get to a point where we say, hey, look, like, does this make sense or does it not? But if we're looking for facts into the administration here or there or previous administrations, what sources are we looking to for the truth? And this is a genuine question. I'm not here to berate you. I'm not here to belittle you. I'm just like concerned that the direction we're heading is that the opinions that we are getting, they're all muddied. Does that make sense, sir?
Well, sir, again, we don't start from opinions, right? We don't start with opinions. We start with facts. And facts can be muddied down the way, but we start with facts, right? Like we start with empirical data, right? And then we take opinions from that empirical data, right?
And where are we getting the empirical data?
That depends on what the data is, right? Like we don't have a source for empirical data, right? We have empirical data that comes from all sorts of different places, right? Like if we want to know how like what the current, outbreak of measles is in the United States, right? We might go to the CDC for that, or maybe we could have gone to the WHO for that, or maybe every single state has their own, their own data source from their health departments talking about how many measles they're having in those states, right? Those are all different parts of the empirical data that we can find, right? And then we have independent agencies outside of that may be Pew Research or the Cato Institute or the Kiel Institute or any of these other, like research organizations have taken and compiled that data. And then they have a different way of presenting that data. Then we have news organizations off of that then take that data from those institutes and then they create articles and stuff like on that, right? So it's a building of things, right? And that's one thing that I wish that people would like, how do I say this without sounding super rude? I think it's a huge show of our education system in the United States that people don't know how to find out that data is real, right? Like, I think that's a problem, right? Like that, when I was in college and like grad school and all sorts of stuff, like it was like the most important thing in the world to know like how to find out whether something you were saying is true, right? Even when I was writing like papers that were even more analysis based, right? That were somewhat my opinion. They all had to be backed in data, and that data had to be provable. And if I threw some bad data into a paper or whatever, right? Then I would immediately get called on that. Now, I didn't do that, but I don't know. We were just taught how to find data that is reliable, how to find data that is researched, how to know how to back up data with data, you know what I'm saying, and how to use different data sets to back each other up. Anyways, I say all that to say is that that's a skill that is very, very important in life, not just in school. It's the ability to understand data, the ability to understand what is true, the ability to critical think. These are all very, very important things just in life,
No, I 100% agree. My question would be, when you say understand data, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are taught how to do that, but who are we taught by to understand that data? And that's the thing, is you were like, it's the question of who are we getting the information by? And I am 100% neutral. Like obviously, if you were a scientist, the first thing they teach you, right, is to be non-biased to your study. Is that correct?
It's to teach you to understand your bias.
So there is not a.
Well, first they teach you the scientific method, which does a lot of getting rid of that bias for you.
Yes.
But regardless of that, it's understanding it's not, we all have bias. We all have internal bias. Every single one of us. You do, I do, frickin' the Fox News anchor or the MS Now anchor or the head editor of New York Times or, the beat writer for Al Jazeera. We all have bias. Okay. it's all just understanding our bias. You have to start with understanding your bias, and then you can understand how to look at things with including your bias in it. All right, like we have scientific biases, right? Like but they need to be understood, right? You have to understand what your bias is. That's why they have things like double-blind studies, right? A double-blind study, like, well, in theory, doesn't allow you to introduce your own bias into a data set, right?
Right. So a double-blind study is essentially if the group introduces something, then we can look at it collectively for the group that was in on the study, and we can be like, hey, this is just a study that is
That's the
showing
placebo effect. That's
go
different.
along with the group, right? Like sheep mentality. They're like, yeah, I felt something, and they're like, well, you had a placebo, like a placebo effect. Is that correct?
It kind of. I don't think I need to get into like the entire scientific method or how double-blind studies work or how placebos work. I don't think that has much to do with what we're talking about right now. But I am gonna leave it. I am gonna leave it here with this on this part of this conversation because I don't know what we're actually talking about anymore. I think we've gone kind of off the rails where we're not like right in the right spot of this conversation. But I do again want to thank you for your service. But I am gonna move on to the next caller and keep this thing going. Okay.
But we can't continue to, like, at least for me to bring it full circle.
Sir, I feel like I don't know what we're talking about anymore. So if you have something to get to that's full circle, can we just skip to the end point? Because right now it just sounds like your end point is I don't know who to trust or where to get the data, and I think they're all lying to me. And I don't like if that's what you believe, sir, then I don't know what to tell you. I really can't help you.
Yes, sir. Like, here's my end point, and we can leave it at this. If you want to have the last word, I completely respect this. This is your show. My end point is this. Like, when we look at where we're at as a society, we are all grasping at straws, and when we choose to believe what we believe, you
I don't know what just happened. This has been the wildest night. I took like a few days off and I don't know what happened. Y'all, please make sure y'all hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. We're going to move on to the next caller. Keep this thing going, y'all. If y'all would like support, I do have super chats and stuff like Shush, who said, yes, back when Wikipedia wasn't a valued source. It's still not. Don't worry, Shush. It's still not. We're gonna try to get this thing going. And Arthur, thank you so much for the jewels too. I really appreciate that. I also have the Money Guns goal over here. If you guys would like support over on the gift goal over there. Or I do have like pay links in the bio if you'd like support also. Also, if you guys are in either of my YouTube chats, I did pin a link up there. That link is my link. That is my affiliate link to Ground News. If you are looking for a place that where you can get a whole bunch of news sources and a whole bunch of data, and you're interested in a thing like Ground News, you can go ahead and click on that link, and that will take you to the link where you can get a deal, help support the live, all that fun stuff. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Also, I'm about to put it in my link tree, so I'll put it in there in case anybody else is looking for a good link on Ground News. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. It'll take it a second to add it to my link tree, though, because I haven't done it yet. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, how old are you?
Am I on there with... I don't know your name. I've been watching you.
That sounds creepy.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I just realized it when it came out of my mouth there. I was listening to you as your last caller, and it's like... talk about data and where it comes from and going to the sources. I noticed there's a very disturbing thing on one part of where you might get data, and that's, for me, is documentaries. And there was a lot of historical documentaries on like Tubi, and they were like propaganda films that said the Nazis weren't so bad. You know, they just misunderstood. I couldn't believe they were actually doing that, but they had done it, and then reported on like non-facts as facts.
Yeah,
And
a
as
documentary
far as Trump-
isn't like really a source of data.
Well, for a lot of people, that get theirs in videos and the news, things like that. But I was always a fan of documentaries, especially about history. But one problem I see with the Trump administration, besides trying to own other countries, is that he doesn't sound like he's going to be wanting to put down reins when his term limit is up. And I'll leave you with that. How's that?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, bye.
I haven't even hit 2 hours yet, y'all. I haven't even hit 2 hours yet. I feel like I've been on for 4 hours, so I haven't even hit 2 yet. I did put that Ground News link into my link tree, though. If anybody is interested, I appreciate that. Y'all, please double tap the screen, hit the like button, chat in the chat, say something. We're gonna hang out, and we're gonna try to get some good conversation here. This is a Monday, y'all. This is a Monday.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, how old are you?
28.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Insane.
I do.
Awesome. Why is that?
Sorry, what was it you just said?
I said, why is that?
I'll go with immigration policy.
Which immigration policy?
Deporting illegal immigrants.
That's not Donald Trump immigration policy. That's every president immigration policy. It's actually the law. Yeah.
Then why is it so widely villainized currently?
Because he's locking up 5-year-olds and shooting American citizens in the back.
Okay, so let's start with the locking up 5-year-olds. If a 5-year-old's parent or legal guardian is going to be deported, what do you think you should do with 5-year-old?
They weren't. That's the end of that. Actually, not only were they not going to be deported, they were literally just released today, and the federal judge just called their detention unconstitutional. So they're released back in the United States, so not even deported.
Okay, but specifically the question that I asked, right? You said they locked up 5-year-olds.
Yeah, but I'm not referring to a hypothetical, sir. I'm talking about a real life situation that's happening in the United States right now, where children and tons of other people that are legally here, by the way, right? And tons of other people that were here illegally, by the way, are being apprehended, locked up, beat up, thrown in detention centers, and sometimes dying in those detention centers.
Okay, well, people will die everywhere, right? That's just factual. But you said
Doesn't mean we have to kill them.
Right? You said he locked up 5-year-olds. Well, if an illegal immigrant is going to be deported and they have children with them, what do you think should happen to those children? Right?
If those children are American citizens or here legally, then they should be sent with a legal guardian or a friggin' family member that's still in the United States. But again, that's not what I'm referring to. Okay. When you asked why is it being villainized, I am not saying it's being villainized due to children of undocumented immigrants that are being deported with their parents. That's not why it's being villainized. It's being villainized because children, okay, whose parents aren't getting deported, okay, who are here legally, all right, sometimes American citizens, all right, are being sent to concentration camps. That's why it's being villainized.
Okay, can you give me the name of the kid that you're talking about?
The one today, his name was Liam. I forgot his last name.
Okay, can you pull up? I'll pull up your stream on my computer so I can.
No,
hear
I'm
it.
not interested
Can
in
you
doing that, sir.
Google that? So you don't want to look up the case that you're using?
No,
as
because
an
I've
example?
already looked up the case, sir. Are you not
Okay, but you're
familiar
using
with the
it as an
case?
example. I'm not. You just said it happened today. How would I be familiar with it?
No, he got sent to the detention center like a week ago. He got released today.
Okay, well, I'm assuming you're talking about the one that I've seen a couple stories about where a guy fled from ICE and he left his 5-year-old in the car. And then ICE took custody of him because he fled. And then, yes, the child was released.
Dad
But
didn't flee.
He
Could see
abandoned
him
the
the whole
child in the
time.
car.
Yep, nope, he didn't do that, right? That's not true. The kid was dropped off in his own driveway and he was there. Not to mention the fact that, again, sir, I don't need to be very specific about this one child, okay? Because there's been so many children. Sir, no, I'm not. Sir, no, I'm not. You are trying to strawman the argument to that, okay? You said, why is Donald Trump's deportations being villainized? I am giving an example, okay, one of many, 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 many examples, okay, of children being detained or deported, okay? All of them, there isn't a single one that now villainizes Donald Trump's deportations, okay? There isn't one of those children that now we need to break down the entire situation. And now it's like, oh, well, this children, let's talk about this exact child. No, the fact that systematically children are being apprehended, detained, separated from their parents, and or sent to detention centers and or deported is one of the reasons why it is being villainized, okay? So now you explain to me why you're okay with the systematic detaining, apprehending, putting in detention centers, sometimes deporting of children, okay, who are being systematically removed from their parents, why you think that that's okay.
Yeah, so I got you. So your issue is that you don't support the children being in detention centers with their parents, nor do you support them being separated from their parents. So by definition, you're saying there is nothing that you can do with a parent that is here illegally because they have to be with their kids and the parents can't go to the detention center. What would you propose they do if the child can't also go to the detention center, nor can the child be separated from their parent? Those are the only two options. I mean, other than just letting them live here because they have children, but then everybody would just have children, right? If you come here and you have
when
children,
I say they're being separated from their parents, I'm not saying they're being left with the family members and then the parents are being left. I am saying that they're still both being sent to detention centers, just not together.
Okay, well, ICE definitely isn't just in the business of making sure that kids can't ever see their children, right? If they're being deported, they're going to be being deported together.
They're not being deported together. They're not even being kept together.
They might be together at every moment, but they're going to be deported.
No, it is literally the policy of the Trump administration to separate them from their families. That is the policy that has been reported by ICE through internal memos from them. It is the policy of the Trump administration to separate them from their parents. Not an accident, not it happens sometimes. It is the systematic policy of the Trump administration to remove them. Policy you say you support.
So when you say they're being separated from their parents, first off, it's the policy to separate them from their parents. Does that
Sir,
mean
I'm going to need
that
you to
when
get
they
some
go
better
to
reception.
it is their intention? You can't hear me?
You sound like a robot.
Hello? All right, let me connect to my Wi-Fi. Okay, so let's talk about Maduro. I think that he did a fantastic job capturing the president of Venezuela, and that it's one of the best things that could have happened for Venezuela.
Well, first of all, wild pivot. Second of all, better reception still, sir.
You can't hear me?
You sound like a robot.
Okay.
Like
I mean, I'm
I know
calling
that
you from-
I know the Trump phone was pretty, okay, but you didn't have to join his network too. Okay?
Okay. I'm calling you from a calling app. So I don't want to give you my real phone number, but I don't know that would make it to where you can't hear me.
I don't know either, but I'm going to hang up because this sounds so horrible, okay? Call me
Okay,
back
I mean, I
when you
get it.
have a reception or something. Whatever app you're calling me from is horrible. Okay? Carolyn, thank you so much for the $10. I super chat. I really appreciate that. Said you are absolutely not allowed to take any more time off. My brain hurts. I want to go back on vacation after tonight. I'm not even gonna lie, Carolyn. I want to go back on vacation. Okay? This is hurting my head. Crazy. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I really appreciate that. Oh, I actually saw one. I got something earlier too. Shoot, I forgot about that. Mora, thank you so much for the $2. I really appreciate that also. Ooh, it says Trump appears thousands of times in the Epstein files, accused of horrifying things. What will it take for people to stop supporting him? I don't know. I really thought the 13-year-old thing in the Epstein files would finally be the final straw for people. I guess not. It's crazy. I literally thought, I was like, no one's going to want to talk to me after that came out. Apparently, I was wrong, which is nuts. Thanks, Mora. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Emerson, my pay links are in my bio. They're all at Polypolitics, just like my name. I appreciate that. Or you can send me the money gun I need. One of those two. Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yes.
Awesome. How old are you?
33.
Awesome. So why is that?
I think it goes to the idea of the lesser of both evils. And I mean, I'll be honest, I don't have all the data to go along with it. One of the reasons I called is because I noticed that the channel or the chat itself is subscriber only, so I couldn't jump in and be like, hey, what's the Discord link to start looking at all the data itself. So I feel like a lot of
You could have
my
subscribed.
knowledge.
It's
Frickin'
free.
No, that makes complete sense. Subscriber only. I keep getting the idea of subscriber and the other term is kind of
Yes, subscriber on every other platform is a paid thing. On that one, that just means you follow me.
join and subscribe. Them are the two that I was getting mixed up, and that's what.
No
that's what I
worries.
was getting mixed up.
I don't have any data sets in there. All I'm saying is I post a lot of the data from the stuff that I talk about on here on there. So I don't keep
And,
like data
yeah.
tables on there, but I need to do that. Trust me, when I get more time, I will be doing that also.
I completely, yeah, I get it. Well, there's only so much time in this world that we live on, unfortunately. If only
Yeah.
there was only so much more time. So
By the way, I
I'll,
just put the thing for the small business closing downs in there right there because I just forgot I hadn't done that.
For sure. Well, yeah, that was kind of the gist I was calling, was just to provide my perspective along with trying to get more information. And I guess to ask the stupid question. So thanks for reminding me.
No,
that
it's
sometimes
good. I totally understand. Subscribing is free. You can just do it. Yeah, it's fine. And the Discord link is in the link tree in my bio. There's a sort of little verification and we go from there. Not a big deal, man. I have a hard time keeping up with it sometimes also, all right?
I was falling in the glitch. I was subscribed and it just never showed up for me. And now I just refreshed the YouTube and now it shows up. So I'll go ahead and let you get on with your day. Hopefully it gets a little bit smoother. I know with some of us right-leaning folks who rely more on our feelings than the logic until
it's those large amygdalas, man. You can't help it.
Yes and no. I mean, there's also, it goes to the idea of, as the other guy was mentioning, how do you trust the data that you see? So, I mean, the data that you're finding, can you really say for certain that it's not corrupted? I mean, we can't, but it goes along with this other idea that we have to be able to have faith on some of the information that we do see.
I mean, which comes to challenging the data that you have. That's what I would like to see myself, to see the data that you have and see if I can come up with other data that I can help.
I'll give you a hint.
I can challenge it itself.
I'll give you a hint real quick before I get off. Before I let you go and
Okay.
move on to the next verse, okay? If you have places that are notoriously accurate, and then when they're wrong, they correct themselves, that's a really good start. I'll give you an example. Pew Research Center. Okay? They are notoriously accurate. Like, notoriously accurate. Right? And then when they're wrong, they immediately correct themselves and they're like, we fucked up. We like this number was wrong or that. It could be off by 1. They'll redo the whole article just because they made like one little mistake. They're notoriously non-biased and they're notoriously like, it's just a great start, right? Things like that. All right. Are great places to recheck numbers, right? We used to be able to use things like BLS or CDC data. We used to be able to use those as generally accurate data. It's a little bit different under the Trump administration because they've gone out of their way to manipulate that type of data. And they haven't been very they haven't even like really been trying not to show that they've been doing that. Like they released like only like 15-20% of all the BLS data after they shut down even given the BLS data. They keep like putting things out there. They're removing it. Like the DOJ released a study saying that 70% of political violence in the United States comes from the right. And then Trump saw that it was like bad for him. So they immediately pulled it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we're having a harder time with government agencies now, right? But when you have somebody like Kristi Noem coming out and calling people like Alex Preddy domestic terrorists, it makes it really hard to trust the administration. But generally, right, before Trump just came into office, even in his last term, the government data was pretty good, right? Like it was as accurate as it could be, and it corrected itself when it was wrong, right? So, but that's the biggest thing that Donald Trump has ever done, right? He has convinced you that there's all this, that the only news is the news that he likes. The only thing that you should be listening to is the things that he says. If he comes out and doesn't like something, then it's fake news and you shouldn't believe it, right? And then it has people constantly questioning anything that they read. And honestly, at this point, with some of the news agencies out there and how partisan they become, you probably shouldn't read half the shit you read, right? But I'll tell you this: there are tons of independent news agencies. There's tons of independent, political speakers, myself included, right? In this, right, who does everything that he can and tries. And I try everything that I can to research everything down to try to be as accurate as possible. Am I wrong? All the time. Okay. I get things wrong. I'm not perfect. All right. But if I'm wrong, I have no problem correcting myself. If I'm called on things and it's wrong, that's okay. I'm wrong. That's okay. Things happen. Okay. But there's a ton of other groups out there and people out there who do this full time, who do this a lot more than me, who are incredibly smart, incredibly freaking, accurate. And so there are tons of people to look at for stuff like that. Someone just mentioned Aaron Parnas, which I think is a great one. I follow Aaron also. I think Aaron's awesome. But yeah. Excuse me. So again, when people are generally accurate and you can back their stuff and they're not afraid to be wrong, it's usually a great start. All right?
100%.
All right, man.
Can I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
And this is kind of not the conspiracy theories, but this is kind of like looking at the future. What do you see what do you think the future is going to involve after Trump is supposed to
Dude, I can't make it through the midterms and looking at the future. Okay. I'm sorry. I wish I could.
No, don't be sorry. I'm sorry. I feel bad for all of us in this situation.
I predicted bad for Trump and I didn't even predict this shit. Okay. So like I predicted bad and I didn't predict any of this stuff. So, I don't know, dude. I can't. I'm holding on and hanging on as hard as I can. All right.
Yeah. Hopefully it gets easier for us all. Thank you for not just booting me out here and having a conversation.
Yeah, it's not getting any easier. I promise you that much. But you have a good one, all right, man?
Yep, you too. Bye now.
Yeah. I don't know what it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be easier anytime soon. Someone said the Pac-Man too. Pac-Man's a great one. I love the Pac-Man. Great stuff. I don't follow him as much. I want the stuff I've seen from him is good, but I haven't. The stuff I've seen from him is good, but from what I've heard, Pac-Man's really good. BTC is really good. Be great. Thank you so much. The $2 says DOJ checks themselves. Whoop, nothing here. Yeah, exactly. Nothing here to look at. Joe Dirt, thank you so much. Said regardless of data, Trump's a piece of shit. Well, the data actually shows that too, so you don't even gotta look up data for that. And Chihuahua said you don't trust good data because of your big amygdala. The amygdala thing it actually is like just a proven thing that just like conservatives have larger amygdalas. It just is a thing. They think they vote and think with their feelings. It just is what it is. Hello, how are you?
Hey, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 33.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Yeah.
All right. Why is that?
Oh, okay. No problem. So yeah, I support him because I think illegal immigration is a problem for undocumented workers, and I think to better poorer people in America, we need to get rid of illegal immigration or undocumented workers.
How does that affect poorer people in America?
Sure. So I would say numbers of different ways. One would be housing.
How do they affect housing?
Sure. So obviously they live in houses or they even buy houses. And,
You think undocumented immigrants in the United States are buying houses?
I know that for a fact.
You know that for a fact. Have you ever bought a house?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
So you've gone through underwriting and worked with a loan officer?
No.
Oh, so you bought your house cash?
No.
Did the house just fly down and you just lived? Are you squatting?
No. I would love to explain to you how I bought my house.
I don't
Sure. So,
even think I want to fucking know, to be honest with you.
it's not illegal. It's completely legal.
Just probably sounds stupid. No, I guess I
No.
am curious. How did you buy your house without paying for it?
Oh, I never said I paid for it. I mean, I did pay for it. I never said I didn't pay for it. Sure. So, okay, I live in El Paso. That's a border town, right?
How did you buy your house?
Basically, I got a loan from a bank in Juarez. I got a loan from a bank in Juarez. They gave me a loan. I was able to purchase my house in the U.S. Right? Because there's banks in multiple countries.
So banks in Juarez don't like care if you like what your house looks like or what your credit looks like?
They more care about money. As long as you have money, and the American dollar goes a long way. Since I'm American, I'm able to prove, I have a big income, do stuff like that. And, because I don't know if you know this, like 500 pesos is $50 here. You know what I mean?
That wouldn't affect the price of the home in the United States.
It would not affect the home. I'm telling you.
Or how much your
asked
loan would be. Yeah.
You asked me how do illegal immigrants buy houses?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
You said, how are they buying houses?
I never once asked you that question.
You specifically said, how are they buying houses?
No, I did not.
What did you say then? How are they affecting
Yeah,
houses?
I never asked that question. I said, so you think undocumented immigrants are buying houses? Then I asked you how you bought your house. I never, Are you an undocumented immigrant?
No, but my uncle is, and he did it the same
Okay,
way.
awesome. So you think, that this is what you're telling me, is that undocumented immigrants that already had to sneak over here, right, are sneaking back over the border, all right, getting bank loans, sneaking back over to this side, all right, and then paying stuff in cash, right, which, again, they couldn't even, get the title or transfer it according to the the U.S. government or anything like that, right? To be able to pay tax on it, because again, they're undocumented people in this country, so they have no ability to register their house, register for state taxes, any of that sort of stuff. The loan officer, which they would have to have a bank on the other side, right, of whoever's they're buying that house from, would have to accept that payment. Right. And so they're going back and forth. I assume they have to sneak back a few times, sign all the documents, or I don't know, maybe banks in Tijuana are just so easy. You just
make
go
a
down
lot
there
of
and get
assumptions,
a $1
my
million
friend.
loan just real quick and just sign one piece of paper and then come back and then give it to the buyer, right, who's apparently not using any type of legality whatsoever. And then the government just forgets about these houses completely. Is that, did I get all that correct?
You made up a bunch of stuff. I would love to
No,
explain
I
this
just
well,
said
but
all the things that would have to happen for what you said to be accurate.
I mean, I can explain it to you, right? Everything's online now. You don't really need to go to the bank. Once you have
Gotcha.
established a relationship with the bank, also, you can do rent to own to buy houses, right? Also, how my uncle did it is my uncle's an illegal immigrant, but he has his own business, right?
Yeah.
So because he has his own business,
Mm-hmm.
he used a tax ID to get a loan and then bought a house that way. If that makes sense. And we live in Texas. Our whatever house you own, that's your property tax.
Gotcha.
Right? Make sense now? I mean, this isn't your world, so I would expect you not to know how to do it, but there's ways to do it. There's ways
Yeah.
to do fraud,
Yeah. Sure, sir.
right? Like,
That actually wouldn't even be fraud, right?
no, I'm saying, like, for example, I'm sure you don't think illegal immigrants are working regular jobs, but
Of course
there's
they
ways
are.
you can work a regular job.
Of
Yeah,
course they are.
they're buying people's
Yeah.
info.
So how does this affect freaking the poor people in the country, just out of curiosity?
Oh, sure. So it brings down wages, and since it
Them
brings
buying
down wages,
houses brings down wages?
no, you're asking me how it affects people. I'm
No,
telling you.
I asked you how it was affecting poor people. You said because they're buying houses, and I want
I said a
I want you
number of
to.
reasons.
Well, let's stick with the one that we're talking about, and since you
Okay,
had
let's
such
stick
an
with the
in-depth
house.
thing, so the poor people who can't buy houses, right? How is undocumented immigrants getting a Tijuana loan, forcing them to, being a problem for them?
No, I said housing specifically. So,
Yeah,
for example,
I understand, sir.
illegal.
I said, okay, let's
Let me
recap real
finish.
quick. Yeah, I know, but you're not listening to what I'm saying. Okay, I said, how are undocumented people, okay, having a negative effect on poor people in the country? Because that was your claim, right?
Yeah.
You said because they're getting Tijuana loans to buy houses.
No.
Okay.
I specifically said Jarvis.
That's exactly what you said. Okay.
I said Jarvis. I said I live in Jarvis. We get you can get a loan from the bank in Juarez.
Yeah, so they're getting Tijuana loans. Oh, sorry, Juarez loans. Sure, I apologize. Okay, they're getting Juarez loans, not Tijuana loans. I'm gonna still call it Tijuana loans because that's what it is. How does that affect the poor people in the United States?
Sure. So,
who by the way,
very-
are below the poverty line, can't buy houses.
you're making assumptions, right?
No, I'm not, because even though all these poor people in the United States, apparently they could just go to Juarez or Tijuana and get a loan. They still live in the United States, they're U.S. citizens, and probably don't have the funds to go down there and get a loan. So they still have to get a loan in the United States. And I was just wondering, since they can't afford to buy a house, how people getting freaking Tijuana loans is somehow affecting them.
Sure. So, like during the Biden administration, about 10 million illegal immigrants came in.
Wrong,
That
and
10
doesn't
million
answer my question.
They need a place to live, so they fill up the houses we have.
By buying
You know
houses
what I'm
that
saying?
poor people can't afford.
Also going to apartments, which raises rents up.
Oh, they're going to apartments.
Houses
Gotcha.
and apartments.
Yeah.
I
So
just use
have
house
you ever
'cause that's
have
my
you ever rented an apartment?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, because you have to show a lot of documentation for that too. Yeah, and I'm just wondering, are they getting those documents in Juarez too?
No, I could tell you they're getting the documents. Since this is
Are
my
those ones
role,
in
I can
Tijuana?
explain. No,
Oh, okay.
you can use a relative's name to get an
Hmm.
apartment. You can use a relative's information, right? Like for
Hmm.
example, one of my relatives, I put down, yeah, I was living there, whatever. They use my information, and then they would pay the rent every month.
God, oh wow!
And
So you're admitting to felony fraud on my life.
yeah, I doubt it's a huge crime. I don't think it's felony fraud because
Well, the law disagrees with you. That the law disagrees with you. You literally just admitted to a felony on my live, but that's cool.
No, I mean, listen, the apartment got their money. They thought I was living there. I would live there sometimes, right? But my uncle also lived there. Not a big deal.
Yeah, just against the law and a felony.
I don't think it's a felony. I'm pretty sure.
Sir, I'm not asking your opinion on whether it's a felony. I'm just saying it is one.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Cool.
I guess the lawyer knows better than you. But yeah. So also, I can give you example how they do. They also like to buy.
All right. Can we
numbers.
just end this, because this is dumb. Okay. So I'm just gonna get to the point. I'm just gonna get it to the point, and we're gonna
appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to the point. Has there been cases of undocumented immigrants buying property in the United States? Absolutely, there is, because just like you can have an I-10, right? In certain states where you can work and pay taxes in the United States, there are those certain states where you can also buy houses, right? So that does exist. That is correct. I don't know anything about these Tijuana loans, right? But legally in the United States, right, you can, as an undocumented immigrant, buy a house. There's no law against that whatsoever. There's nothing that says that you have to be a U.S. citizen in order to buy a house, right? So that is correct, right? And also, all right, there are ways that undocumented people get apartments. There's all sorts of different, programs and all sorts of stuff, right? Here's the problem with what you're saying, okay, is that none of this is affecting those poor people that you're talking about, right? We have a housing crisis in the United States. We have one that's affecting everybody, including American citizens, right? But undocumented immigrants aren't necessarily affecting that any more or less, and they're sure as hell not doing it by the methods that you talk about, because the methods that you're using, that you're talking about, right, are so rare, right, and so off the charts, right, that the percentage of people that are doing it is so minute that it could not have an effect on the populace.
I disagree with that, but that's just one of several issues. I think also they're driving down wages.
It is though, right? It's just the case, right? The amount of people, amount of people in the United States, just in general, okay, the undocumented population that even makes the amount of money in order to buy a house, right, is just minute, just in that part. And yes, we have apartment issues, right? We do need more apartments. We need more, affordable housing in the United States. But that was a problem well before Biden became president. Right, it's one that needs to be fixed with strong. Well, you did, because you just made up a lie about 10 million undocumented immigrants coming to the United States, right? But even before Biden, we've had a housing issue for decades in this country, and we need to be fixed. That's why it was so important for people like Kamala Harris to have, some of her main policy be on helping the housing industry.
No, I get it, but how many came in under Biden? I don't want to spread misinformation.
Estimates put it around 4 million.
Okay, 4 million. Sorry about that. I still think they drive down wages, and I will admit to you, it's been a problem for a good, I would say, about 20 years, 20, 30 years.
Okay. Let me also make one more point on the housing thing. If you're going to make the problem with housing being with people in general taking up housing that could drive up housing costs, right, especially in specific areas, you're doing a lot better just make that argument towards documented immigrants, because they make up the much larger percentage of people that are actually taking up housing. So anyways, regardless of that, right, as far as the driving down wages, in certain industries maybe, but not as a whole.
No, I think, because I specifically said poor people, I think it affects poorer people. I'm an immigrant, as you can tell. What I believe is we need more richer immigrants coming into this country, and probably deporting the poor immigrants. Unfortunately, I think hopefully one day in this country we're gonna need poor immigrants like my grandpa. That's how I'm here, because my grandpa was a poor immigrant. So I think we're gonna need that, but I think right now we need job creating immigrants, immigrants who can make money for the U.S. economy to drive the poor wages up.
Yeah, literally undocumented immigrants in the last trackable year gave like $100 billion to freaking the U.S. economy.
No, yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about. They all add to the U.S. economy very, very strongly, and more importantly than that, right? They do a whole bunch of jobs Americans don't want to do, which keeps agricultural prices down and construction prices down and all sorts of stuff. The problem isn't that undocumented immigrants or documented immigrants, even for that matter, are taking jobs that Americans want. The majority of them are taking jobs that Americans don't want, so therefore that job is still getting done, which is actually keeping prices down, right? Like you don't have a whole bunch of American citizens clamoring at the chance to go work on a farm in the Central Valley of California, right? Those are undocumented immigrants, and getting rid of those undocumented immigrants doesn't bring jobs for Americans. You know what I'm saying? Well, there could be in certain industries like construction where an oversaturation of construction jobs could drive wages down for construction. That is possible. It also allows things to continue to be built, because without those undocumented immigrants, you just end up having like a tenth of the construction crews, right? And then while those wages for that 1/10 of those construction crews goes up, you're only getting a tenth of the production of it, which means things like housing become even more of a problem because you don't have construction workers in order to build more houses. Does that make sense? So it's kind of a catch-22, right? So even in those industries where it does drive wages down, it still becomes a problem because we need those crews to be able to do that work.
No, I get you. Yeah, and I appreciate you explaining that. But yeah, I still think I'm on my beliefs. But yeah.
Well, if you want to talk about richer immigrants, I mean, Donald Trump isn't really doing much for them either, right? He had a huge program to raise the cost for H-1B visa people, right? In order to pretty much eliminate that. So that's not really helpful, so it doesn't really do anything. And those immigrants that are coming over bringing jobs, they're not really bringing jobs unless you're just talking about Elon Musk's of the world, and they're sending their largest plants to, was it Shanghai?
Yeah.
Beijing, one of the two.
If I may say something, you do a show with Artie?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. Yeah, I've explained this to her too, and she just called me racist and hung up. So I really appreciate you letting me say what I had to say.
Were you being racist?
No, I was not. I said the exact same thing. I said, I think we need richer immigrants, and I think we need less poor immigrants. And then she went, why are you bringing no value to poor immigrants? I'm like, I'm not saying that. I just think that's what we need right now. But
Well,
you make some good points.
what I'm going to say is I don't think that what you said to me wasn't racist. Okay,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It was not very bright, but it wasn't racist, right? And I don't know what you said to her. So
I said the exact same thing. She didn't let me. She's known for hanging up, but I appreciate you not hanging up on me, letting me speak. I have conservative values, and I saw that.
That's my girlfriend, right?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not saying anything mean. I'm just saying she hung up on me. And I saw that debate with Anna Kasparian and Pearl. I'm a Republican, and Anna Kasparian won that debate. You know what I mean? I can appreciate things, but yeah. I appreciate you, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye. I am assuming that if Ari called him racist and hung up, it was probably for a reason. Just being honest. I don't know. I wasn't there. Okay, I don't know. Maybe you should just... Can I just be real quick on something real quick? And wait, y'all, please make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe and follow. We do this every single day. Be great. Thank you so much for the $2. And midterms will flip so hard it will look like rigged. I hope so. That's for sure. Thank you so much. Be great. Here's what I'll say is I thought I got a lot of shit, but it is nothing compared to how women are treated on some of these apps. Holy shit. I literally most times can't even fucking listen to Ari's live. Because the way women get treated on these fucking apps is fucking horrific. I remember when I used to do a show with Diva, and holy shit, the way people talk to women in comparison to me. People say crazy shit to me. And somehow, like, whenever it's so It's so bad, bro. It's so bad. Wild. Anyways, if y'all would like to support, I have super chats open. I have my live gift goal of 1 money gun. It's been there for like an hour and 20 minutes. We haven't gotten it there. Hopefully we can get there before the live is over. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been one for like an hour. And so thank you so much for that. I was like, damn. Tatted, thank you so much for the $2. Said his bank goes to another school, you don't know her. His bank goes to another school, you don't know. Oh, is that the Tijuana bank? Look, I'm not saying it's not possible. Okay, I'm not saying it's not possible that people go to Mexico and get loans. I'm not saying it's not possible. Okay? It has to be possible, right? But I'm just saying, like, that can't be the issue. Like, that can't be the problem. There can't be so much of that happening that it's causing a housing issue in the United States. It's just not possible. We'd have too many bankrupt banks in Juarez or wherever. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that can't be the issue. It just can't be. Be great. Thank you so much. Says oh, I don't even think I could read that. But we're just gonna let it go there, and then I'm gonna move on. Nice super chat. And then Be Great says he's illegally telling all the illegal secrets. I know, right? Freaking Ice, where you at? I should be listening in on my live. He's telling everybody everything on everything over there. And Jeff, thank you so much. Said thank you for the great convo before. Thank you for the great convo before, Polly. Oh, Jeff, did you call in earlier? Oh, I'm glad you did. Thank you so much. I don't remember which one you were, but awesome. Thanks for calling in. Jeff's here all the time, so I'm glad he came in. See, I'm not as scary, right? I'm not that scary. Yeah, what I will say, like, I'm not a fan of ICE, especially right now, or our government, but I will say, if they're gonna like look someplace, I would look into Juarez banking, because that feels illegal. Also, find that last guy. He's definitely committing a fraud with the apartments. So, thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I was your first call. Oh, you were the call. That was 2.5 hours ago. You were very calm and respectful, Jeff. I will say that. You're a lot less annoying in the phone call than you are in my chat. So, that's good. Hello, how are you?
Hey, man. Good evening. Doing pretty good.
Awesome. How old are you?
42.
Awesome. Do you still support Trump?
Very much so.
Awesome. Hey, yo, I'm gonna set a new live goal over there. Let's try not to take an hour and a half to do it on this one. Okay, we're gonna try. All right. Why do you support Trump?
I just think he's doing a lot of great things for the country. I think that his recent push to cap consumer credit card interest rates at 10% is just an incredible thing for the people.
I love Bernie Sanders' policies too.
Yeah, but Bernie never did it, so it's really cool.
Well, Bernie never became president. I'm just saying, like, yeah, I think it's kind of cool that Donald Trump is doing Bernie Sanders policies. He should do more Bernie Sanders policies, like getting rid of tariffs and more social safety nets, and you know.
Okay, well, we can agree that that's a great thing Trump's doing.
Well, it's not done yet.
Well, he's at least attempting. He's more.
Well, he hasn't
doing it than
attempted
any
yet. He
president
hasn't
before.
attempted it yet either.
But even just by talking about it.
No, you don't get credit just for talking. Sorry. If he
Okay,
does it, okay, then he'll get credit for doing it. Donald Trump talks about all sorts of shit.
Okay.
Donald Trump said he was going to end the war between Ukraine and Russia in 24 hours.
Well, he can't create things. He can attempt to. I think he very much attempted his best to and continues to.
I don't think he did that whatsoever. But what I'm saying is, we seem to get like, and maybe it's you guys just like clamoring, and this isn't even trying to be rude, but maybe it's like Trump supporters just like clamoring for something to like be something good for Trump, right? But it seems like all the things that you guys tried to give him credit for are things that he says he might do in the future and not things that he's actually ever done, right? Like I got told forever that I needed to give back my Doge check for the Doge check that never came, right? Like I'm being told right now, right? Like that I should give mass credit to Donald Trump for Venezuela for a situation we have no idea how it's going to work out yet, right? And now you're coming up to me with this, telling me to give him credit for lowering consumer credit card interest rates down to 10%. I will say right here, if he does it, I think that is a good thing. Okay? I don't think it's going to happen. Okay? And so I'm not preemptively going to give him credit for it.
Okay, that's fair.
Cool. But if he does it, come on back up. I'll agree with you that is a good thing. Fair?
That's fair and very fair. Very fair. I think he also deserves credit for at least having the initial push to remove retail investors from residential housing.
Donald Trump is one of the biggest reasons why those industries have residential housing. He made adjustments to the Fair Housing Act in his first term, which actually released restrictions allowing more of those giant companies to be able to buy up single family homes.
So he shouldn't try to fix it?
He should try to fix it, yeah, but you don't get credit for setting the house on fire and then putting it out.
Yeah, but you do get credit for accidentally setting a house on fire and then building a house that can never burn down again.
Yeah, he didn't accidentally do it, though. He had to intentionally go into an already established policy to manipulate the policy verbiage to make that, to allow that to happen, right?
Yeah,
yes,
but
he should fix it, but no, you don't get credit for fixing something you already did.
Okay, but to say he intentionally did it would be saying that he knew what the results would be. And there's no way of knowing what he intentionally does or doesn't do.
Okay, so whether he did it through purposeful action or incompetence, okay, because those are the only two options. Either he did it on purpose or he is too incompetent to realize what he was doing, because anybody could have known that what he was doing was exactly what he was doing, right? Either way, fixing his own mistake doesn't get credit for that one. Sorry.
Except he's not fixing his mistake if he passes it into law that it can't happen again.
It was already law that it couldn't happen.
Okay, well, then I'll plead ignorance.
Yeah. So it was law, it was loosened, then it was loosened again, it was loosened under Trump. It's just been continually loosened, right? We need restrictions on it, right? We did, but again, he released more, he allowed for more of that to happen. So why would he not? I mean, that's what he's done his whole life is corporate real estate, right? Why would he not do, it's just crazy to me for somebody who's literally made his name doing real estate to tell me that a policy dealing with real estate he wouldn't understand. That doesn't make any sense, man. Regardless of whether it's residential or not, like you literally have to tell me that Trump is the dumbest real estate person in the history of real estate people in order for me to believe that he didn't do that on purpose.
So you're saying he's not the dumbest?
The dumbest in real estate? No, I don't know shit about real estate. Okay. I assume he knows more than I do.
Okay. No, listen, I respect you giving him credit.
No, he's a shit businessman, but he knows more about real estate than I do. Right? And I can see that what he was going to do was going to cause that.
Okay. But why do you say he's a shit businessman?
Because if you literally adjusted the amount of money that he inherited for inflation, he lost money up until his first presidency. The majority of the money that he's made as a businessman has come since he's been president. He literally, up until that point, could have just put his money in a savings account at like 3% interest and would have made more money.
Well, I'm assuming that Trump received the same level of money from his family as his brother did. Are you saying that Trump's estate was less than his brother's
I have
estate?
no idea how much his brother got.
Well, that would be a fair metric.
I'm not saying his
I mean,
brother is better or worse.
But I mean, his brother passed away, so he would have done nothing with the money. So
I'm
if
saying,
we could compare the two, then I think that would be a fair comparison.
what business infrastructure does Donald Trump have? He just literally all those buildings with his name on them, they're not even his buildings. He just licenses his name, right? He has like 2 buildings. He doesn't really own much, right? That's why he's made like literally over $1 billion in his presidency just from like his crypto scam that literally people are just paying money into, right, in order to get pardons in Air Force bases.
I don't think anyone has tracked Trump's crypto to pardons or Air Force bases.
Yes,
I mean, I
we
think
directly
Coffee-
have, like literally directly from Qatar, directly from the Saudis, directly from the CEO of Binance, directly from multiple fraudsters. Literally, people are just paying the Trump organization cryptocurrency, and he is handing them pardons. It's like easily connected.
How come CoffeeZilla? I mean, I think this would be news everywhere if anybody could directly link crypto payments to pardons.
It is news everywhere.
I don't think everywhere is a fair estimate because it's news to me, and I try to be an informed individual.
Okay. It is on every major news network, not Fox.
I don't watch Fox or news.
I'm just.
But so you're telling me if I look up, I can find direct.
I can pull it up for you, dude. It's not even hard.
To like
Yeah.
the Qatari royal family.
Oh, it was the Qatar. I think it was. Which one was it? Was the Qataris or the Saudis that he gave the Air Force base to in Idaho? Qataris? I could find it.
Yeah.
Anyways, you can keep going while I pull it up.
Okay. At what point should Trump receive either credit or disdain for Venezuela? Because you're saying it's too soon to tell. Well, when could you tell?
Oh, it usually takes quite a long time. Yeah. I'll tell you, it's not looking good. I mean, what are we going to give him credit for? The entire regime that that was in power is still in power.
Is Russia still getting oil?
Not that I'm aware of.
So I think that's a win.
But
I
that
think
could have
that's probably
happened
better.
without the Maduro thing. Maduro was willing to negotiate that without doing what we did.
Yeah, could have, would have, should have, except it wasn't happening. It is happening now.
No, hold on. Trump, Maduro said, "I'll do this exact thing," and then Trump just removed him, put in Maduro's vice president, who was like, "Yeah, we already agreed to this."
Okay, but did it stop after Trump took Maduro out?
Sir, the Venezuelan oil thing from the country that probably freaking produces like what the 3rd most oil in the world is not exactly my priority. Why is that my priority?
Well, I think because it funds Russia's war with Ukraine, and it funds a direct aggressor to this country.
So
and its
does
way of life.
Russia's oil. Russia has a shit ton of oil. They can still fund their war using their own oil.
Which is sanctioned across everywhere, to the point that I think Trump deserves some credit today. I think it was today that Modi said he would no longer buy Russian oil.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. I don't believe that's going to last for 6 months, but regardless.
I think that's a huge blow. I think that's a huge blow for the BRICS nations.
So
that one of the founding nations of BRICS has now said that they no longer want to buy oil from another.
Yeah, I think that would be. Again, I don't believe it, but we'll see what happens. Okay, but regardless, sir, if Russia is sanctioned on oil and they produce oil, then what is them getting more oil? How is that helpful to them?
Well, because it's a finite resource. Venezuela has much more oil than Russia does, and it also gives them access to a whole entire hemisphere.
They were barely getting any oil from Venezuela, and all the ones that they were getting were already under sanction, and they were just getting them through underground means. Because
Yes, but
again, they were
all-
already sanctioned. So literally the amount of oil they were getting was minimal at best.
Well, I disagree. I would love to see what the figures of how much oil Russia was getting from Venezuela are. I don't think that the word minimal applies because Venezuela didn't really have anyone else to do business with outside of Cuba, Russia, and Iran.
But they were already
So I
under
would say
sanction. That's why we're
the majority of
stopping oil tankers that were already under sanction for doing this exact thing, right?
Yeah, but who could the consumers of Venezuelan oil be
China.
if not Russia, Iran, and Cuba?
China.
And China, fine. China also gets oil from Russia and other countries as well. So it wasn't like
Where do you think
China was
India is going to get all their oil from?
the United States who controls Venezuelan oil.
We don't have enough. We don't make enough oil here for that to fund India.
Yeah, correct. But we now control Venezuelan oil infrastructure.
Even with
So by
Venezuelan
proxy-
oil, it's not going to be enough to fund India. India has more people in this country than in the world than what anybody but China.
Yeah, but I think India committed. I think today Modi committed to getting $500 billion in oil from the United States through Venezuela.
I believe that he did. Yeah, that what funds like 4 days in India.
Well, I think $550 billion to Russia could probably fund that war for a long time.
I think he's probably just
Now
going to go
that
get it
it's
from
not-
China.
I mean, Modi committed to getting it from the United States.
No,
Whether
he
does or
committed to
doesn't-
getting a certain number from the United States and Venezuela, but that isn't enough to nearly touch what they need in India.
Okay, but regardless, it's $550 billion that is now going to the United States and not to Russia.
Sir, you're saying $550 billion as if that means something to me.
Well, I think it means something to the people of Ukraine getting bombs dropped on them.
They're still going to get bombs dropped on them. They're still going to get bombs dropped on them every day. There's been an
Yeah, but-
escalation since Donald Trump took office where there's been more bombings. The number of Ukrainian civilian casualties has significantly increased since Donald Trump has been president. Donald Trump spreads Russian propaganda. He freaking invites Putin over for dinner and hangs out with them. Like, do you think that the oil is the problem, sir?
I think they're going to get $550 billion less of bombs dropped on them. And do you think Ukraine had a better defense when all of its soldiers were still alive or years later when Trump took his second presidency?
Yeah, so
think
simple. One, yes, they'll have $550 less from that country. That doesn't mean that they just won't get that from another country. Okay, you're making the assumption that because they stopped getting that India stopped buying it, that someone else isn't also just going to buy buy that exact same oil, which is a huge assumption and one that you have no data on whatsoever.
They're not going to get that oil because it's coming from Venezuela now.
No, you don't seem to understand what I said, sir. And let me say it again. Just because India's not buying it doesn't mean they're not selling it.
To who? To I
To
guess
China.
it would- To China. Okay, so then
Or many other countries that still buy Russian oil, whether that's underground or through more obvious means like China, right?
yeah, but it's basic economics. You're removing demand. There's $550 billion less demand.
Okay.
You could make. I mean, China has a finite appetite for oil. They can't infinitely buy oil. So if anything,
They're pretty close. They have a lot of people.
They also have a lot of solar and a lot of winds and a lot
That
of
is
battery
very, very true. But again, they're not the only ones that are going to be doing it, right? Like Russia has been under sanction for a long time and hasn't stopped moving oil. They've been funding things for a long time. And if you think for any stretch that means that somehow bombs are going to slow because of this, it's not going to happen.
There's going to be a $550 billion impact on some level. You can't say that it's
on the Russian citizens that are probably going to starve a lot more because of this.
because Putin would rather fund the war than feed his people. But we can't control how Putin chooses
We
to run
can't.
his country.
You're right. We can't. But we know what we can choose to do.
What's that?
Yeah, not join a board of peace with him. Not
Well, you're
invite
not
him
gonna-
out and roll out a red carpet for him. Not invite him over to U.S. Air Force bases. Not spread his propaganda. We could not do any of those things.
So how should we bring him to the negotiation table?
How should we bring him to the negotiation table? Why should we bring him to the negotiation table if you're trying to stop bombs from dropping in Ukraine?
Because negotiating would end the bombs.
Really? How's that been working out for the last year?
he hasn't negotiated.
Yeah, and we did all of those things that I just said in the last year. Rolled out the red carpet, freaking spread Russian propaganda. We did all those things, and he hasn't negotiated. So if all of those things that I named aren't bringing him to the negotiation table, then what was the point of what you said?
Well, maybe India no longer buying oil might bring them to the negotiation table. Maybe Venezuela not supplying them with oil might bring them to the negotiation table. Maybe if the United States is successful in toppling the regime in Iran, which would remove a key ally, might bring them to the negotiation table. But these are all things that have to happen before they have a result.
Maybe the flying spaghetti monster will come down from his possible in the sky and spread his marinara all across us. Maybe that'll end the war.
You're right. Or maybe what Biden was doing was having great effects on ending the war in Ukraine. It obviously wasn't. At least now we're doing something different.
Yeah. Different isn't always good, sir.
4 years.
Sir,
what Biden
sir,
was doing,
if I'm trying to put on my sock and I can't reach my sock because my back is fucked up, if I can't reach it, okay, that's bad. Okay, it sucks. I can't put on my socks. But me kicking a boulder, I mean, it's different, right? So maybe that helps.
No, but you could.
But it's different, sir. I mean, for all of these years, I haven't been able to put on a sock. So maybe I should just try kicking the boulder.
No, I mean, maybe you've never had a bad back and you don't know the difficulties of putting on a sock. But hunching over doesn't work. You can lay sideways on the bed.
Oh.
There's other...
That is true. That is true. I could lay sideways on the bed. I could maybe get some help, right? Or maybe I can get like a tool and, try to do that. But I'm still trying to figure out how me kicking the boulder helps.
Why are you stuck on this analogy of kicking the boulder?
Because that's what you're advocating for, sir. You're like, at least kicking the boulder is something different. That's what you're saying. You're like, hey, at least kicking the boulder, like at least is something different that we could possibly do. And I'm telling you, sir, that we're kicking the boulder, okay? And you're like, at least it's something different.
How is removing material support for Russia considered kicking a boulder?
Because we haven't removed some material support. We've moved a minute part of material support, one that will not have an effect on it, sir. And as long as we're doing the other things, okay, like courting Putin, like freaking spreading his propaganda, like having Donald Trump turned against Ukraine and against NATO allies, then he has no reason to change course because Donald Trump is doing things that are favorable to Russia.
Except he has every reason to change course because now one of his key allies, India, is no longer buying oil from him.
Well, okay, we're gonna do this. This is simple. This isn't gonna change shit. Okay, Putin is still going to do all the things he was going to do. Okay, and if you think for a half a second, okay, a quarter of a second, okay, that the Venezuelan oil is the thing that's going to change Putin's mind when he has literally been given a peace board and has the largest military in the world, freaking offering him a place right next to the U.S. president on a peace board, when the United States, the people that are most likely to hurt him, are literally freaking going against NATO allies. Okay, when literally the president of the United States is spreading his fake propaganda about Ukraine. If you think that Venezuelan oil is the one that's going to change it, then you do not understand anything about this conflict, anything about the countries involved, anything about international relations, nor have you ever read a history book.
Okay.
Is that
and
simple enough?
If I give you everything you just said, which was the peace thing and the seat at NATO, if I give Putin all those things and he has no one to sell oil to,
he already has people to sell oil to. We already went through this part.
We're removing them one by one. We've already removed India. Pretty soon it looks like we're going to remove Iran.
I don't think we've removed India, by the way.
We've removed a major supply out of Venezuela. So I just don't understand.
So let me ask you a question. When the Supreme Court rules in a few months that Donald Trump can't implement his tariffs anymore, does the oil still get, does India start buying again?
And if the Supreme Court doesn't?
Well, I mean, you've been living in hypothetical land, sir. What happens in 3 years when Donald Trump isn't president anymore and all these tariffs go away?
What happens in a few years when...
Why did you get to ask me about 17 hypotheticals, but when I ask you one, you won't respond?
I am responding.
No, you're just asking me another question.
Okay, go ahead, ask your question and I will...
I've already asked two of them. You can pick one.
excuse my ignorance. I forgot. Please repeat one.
Okay,
I'm
awesome.
happy.
What happens in a few months if the Supreme Court rules that his tariffs are anti-constitutional, which they are, by the way?
What happens? Well, I believe it's not tariffs related. I believe it's tariffs related to trade negotiations, not to sanctioning Russia for what's considered, aggression across the world. I don't. Those
India
tariffs
agreed to stop buying that oil based off of a tariff reduction.
Yeah, a 6% tariff reduction.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Trump just bought himself a few more months to try to give Ukraine peace.
Oh, do you think that peace
it's
is going
better-
to? Yeah, you think peace is going to happen based off of this?
I think you can cripple the Russian economy and he'll be forced to negotiate if he can't fund his war. I mean, wars aren't cheap.
Oh, this is sad, dude.
I don't understand why you're laughing, but do you think wars are cheap?
Russia has had a crippled economy for years and they haven't slowed down. They've escalated. They have literally been saving for this day for decades. They have literally been saving for decades. They are selling massive amounts of oil and natural resources to places like China and North Korea. They have literal North Korean troops fighting in this war, okay? They have bombs and missiles. They have completely rejuvenated their entire weapons industry, okay, in order to make sure that they have bombs and weapons in order to bomb Ukraine. If you, that's what I'm saying. If you think, okay, that this deal is the one that's going to stop Russia, then you do not understand this situation.
I say it's death by a thousand
It is a
cuts.
joke, sir. It is literally a joke.
Okay, I think some things we can agree on. North Korea's material support is negligible in any way, whether it's troops or buying oil. It's such a negligible amount. It shouldn't even
And
be
it's
considered.
still more prominent than India stopping buying oil.
You think North Korea
And
is
it's
a bigger
still
market
more
of oil
prominent, and it's
than India?
still more prominent than that.
You think North Korea is a bigger market of oil than India?
Nope. I'm saying that their support is more important than India's oil purchase. And again, that's only India purchases that we know about.
Well, I also think that we're stealing oil tankers from them, which also limits their ability to traffic in oil. So that also has a material impact.
Sorry, there's tons of things that have material impact. The sanctions have had material
And
impacts.
Trump is doing
blockades have had material impacts. There's material impacts before Donald Trump. There's material impacts with Donald Trump.
Many
Okay,
more.
and if
Many
Donald
more
Trump
with
leaves, when Donald Trump leaves, okay, hopefully sooner rather than later, there will be material impacts after that. Okay, but again, sir, this goes back to our original point with this conversation. Okay, and so I'm going to bring it back because this is just getting annoying. Okay, just
I'm all
like
for it.
everything else that you have brought up on during this conversation. Okay, it is something that you are trying to attempt to give Donald Trump credit for that hasn't happened. Okay, because everything that Donald Trump has actually done is horrible. So you're up here trying to convince me, right, to give Donald Trump credit for a de-escalation in a war that hasn't happened yet. Okay? How about you wait, okay? Just like the Maduro thing, just like, I don't even remember what the first thing that you tried to talk to me about, right? Something that might possibly happen in the future, right? Like, just like with everything else you brought up, how about you come back to me when any of this shit actually works, and then maybe we can have a conversation, okay? Because so far, okay, you have given me absolutely nothing that Donald Trump has actually accomplished, and a whole bunch of shit you think that you project him to accomplish in the future.
Okay, but under that logic of waiting, then what if I told you, why don't you wait until 5 years from now, and when there's less undocumented individuals in the country, and maybe the price of insurance has gone down and the price of housing has gone down, then we can judge its impact on the United States. But it sounds like
Sure, yeah, that's fine. That sounds great, sir. No, that sounds great. When that happens, then we can judge its impact on the United States. But has that happened?
It hasn't yet, but it doesn't
Okay,
stop
then
me
it
from
then
that.
if it hasn't happened yet, then we're not judging it right now. What we are judging is the things
You're not
that
judging
have
it?
happened. Am I?
So
No,
you
I am
are
judging the current state of the United States. The
I'm
current
judging
one.
the current, and I'm judging the current state of what's going on in global politics, thanks to the things Donald Trump is doing.
Has the war in Russia de-escalated?
I'm not.
Has
aware
the
enough to-
war in Ukraine de-escalated?
I think Ukraine.
It is a
starting to
yes
make-
or a no question, sir. Has the war in Ukraine de-escalated?
I think Ukraine is making
Do
advances.
you see how he will not answer the question? The reason why he will not answer the question is because the war in Ukraine has not de-escalated, and he is trying to get me to judge the situation on a de-escalation that has not happened. If it does
if Ukraine-
de-escalate, but if it does, you can come back to me then. What does Donald Trump do that has de-escalated the current situation? Absolutely fucking nothing. Actually, the things that he has done have escalated it, not de-escalated it. That's what he
Okay.
is getting judged on, not what you
How has
think
he
might
escalated?
happen in the future. Okay?
How has he escalated?
I have already explained that at least 3 times.
You've explained an escalation. You
The things
think
that he's
Donald
done to
Trump-
escalate, yes.
by providing weapons to Russia, by funding. I don't understand how he's escalated it.
Awesome. If you don't understand
the only
that,
thing-
then I'm not going to repeat myself for a 4th time. It just means that you weren't listening.
You stated at one point that you think the situation has gotten deadlier for the civilians of Ukraine.
We
And I
know
made the
that that's
point of-
happened.
Well, that makes a lot of sense since their best soldiers have been getting killed for the last 5-6 years.
There's nothing to
I
do
would
with the fact
imagine-
of what Donald Trump has been doing to escalate the situation.
So you think that the biggest impact is not that Ukrainian soldiers have been dying for 6 years, but that Donald Trump rolled out a carpet for Putin. That's what's leading to more deaths.
I think that they both have effects. But Donald Trump only has options on one of those. Donald Trump can't go back in time and bring alive other soldiers, but he can decide how he treats Putin, and both of them have an effect. And one of them is
But
de-escalating, and one of them is
regardless of
escalating.
who's president, even if Kamala was president right now, wouldn't you think that as the war drags on, the situation for Ukraine gets more and more dire?
I have no
more and
fucking
more
clue. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that when Kamala's president. Oh wait, that's not going to happen.
Well, no, because the people voted for Donald Trump. But
Yeah,
regardless,
and Donald Trump escalated the situation. I'm not here to live, sir. Your entire argument is a giant hypothetical. Everything that you argue is a giant hypothetical. Okay.
Yes, but it's
you
based
come with
on reality.
no facts. No, you don't come with any reality. You just made a claim that if Kamala Harris would have been elected, then something would have happened. You are living in a hypothetical world.
No,
I would
sir.
like to live
You-
in this one, if that's okay.
Insane.
You are stating that more people are dying in Ukraine today than they were before Donald Trump
We saw
was
a
president.
stark escalation from the 2024 to 2025 after Donald Trump was elected. Yes.
Almost as if their defenses have been weakened throughout
Yeah.
years of bombardment.
Gotcha. So December hadn't been weakened at all. Totally good. January, Trump gets in. Nothing happens. February, all defenses are gone. Escalate. Freaking casualties go up. That's what you're trying to
don't know.
claim to me on. That's your claim here.
I'm trying to claim, track it year by year and see if there's a
Track
trend.
it month by month. Donald Trump comes in office, casualties increase.
Okay, track it month by month. Anything can happen on a 1, 2, 3 month basis.
Yes.
You have to send a trend
And
line.
in
The obvious
this one,
trend
it
line
was
is gonna-
Donald Trump got elected and became president. In this situation, the thing that could happen was Donald Trump became president.
I don't understand how you can even think that influences troop decisions, line decisions, defense. The president of the United States is affecting how Ukraine decides to protect their citizens.
No, it
What-
decides whether what was the first thing Donald Trump did when he came in?
Turn the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. I don't know. You tell
Yeah,
me.
he turned off weapon shipments to Ukraine.
From the United States, but he doesn't control the EU. Are you saying that the EU is not supporting Ukraine with weapons?
So you're not saying that a freaking lack of weapons from the United States won't affect whether Russia decides to escalate or whether Ukraine has the ability to defend itself?
I don't know if the EU has had an equal augmentation in weapons.
Even
to
if
make
they
up
had an
for-
equal augmentation, that would be 50% gone immediately.
unless they have an equal augmentation, and then there would be a net zero.
I'm sorry, dude. This is just Donald Trump comes in, suspends weapon shipments to Ukraine, casualties go up. You're like, I don't see how any of this connects. I don't see how that's literally what you're doing right now. You're like, I don't see how any of this connects, right? How is it possible that Donald Trump becomes president, immediately suspends weapon shipments, casualties in Ukraine go up, and you're like, these things have nothing to do with each other. I don't even know how it's possible that these things could even correlate. That's crazy, sir. Do you hear yourself right now, brother? Like, are you just trying to be just like, are you just trying to be argumentative? Are you trying to fight me? Like, is that what we're doing here? Because
no, sir. I take
because I'm
no
starting to
joy
feel
in
this can't
aggravating
be
you or
real
fighting
or
you.
something. Like, truthfully,
I promise I take no joy in aggravating your fighting with you, but I think it's disingenuous to not say that the EU increased their weapon shipments
they did
immediately after the United States decreased theirs. I think it's disingenuous to make that point.
Of course they did. Okay. And if you think, I think it's incredibly disingenuous to not understand that suspending weapon shipments from the largest weapons producer in the entire world by a long shot. Okay. Not even like close, right? Suspending that would not have an effect on Ukraine's ability to defend themselves. That is disingenuous.
Unless it's made up on the other side. If your dad stops giving you,
It wasn't made up on the other side. Okay, the EU did do a lot to increase over time, and then weapon shipments to the EU that were actually sent to Ukraine increased, but that didn't happen immediately. All right, it took time, right? And for that immediate moment, casualties increased, and then we had all the other things I was talking about: the change of rhetoric, the increase of the spread of propaganda, the rolling out the red carpet for Putin, right? The rhetoric towards our NATO allies, saying, like pretty much talking about a break of them. All of those things happened month after month after month after month after month, right? And over time, all of those things added up to a lot more dead Ukrainians, okay, and people that were fighting on the side of Ukraine also, right? So all of those things together had an effect, right? And literally, I don't know, like obviously they had an effect, right? And so I don't really know what we're doing here, man. Like, it obviously had an effect when we were sending weapons at a full, full speed load, which honestly I didn't even think was quick enough, right? There was less casualties. We stopped. There's more. Donald Trump is adding to truth propaganda, right? It is what it is, right? Trump emboldened him, right? Trump made him feel like he had something to say, like he was platforming him, right? Like we talk about platforming on apps like this, right? Like, come on.
I don't think you can say that Trump is emboldening Putin when he's taking his oil tankers, taking Venezuela, and stopping India from buying oil. I don't think it's fair to say that he's doing those things to embolden Putin.
Those are all recent.
You should at least.
Those are all recent.
Admit. Yeah, but they're material. They're happening.
Donald Trump has been emboldening him for a year. Those are recent, right? I'm talking about all the things that happened in 2025 and early 2025, not over the last 60 days. Okay, I haven't seen the casualty numbers from Ukraine in the last 60 days. I don't know what they're doing. Okay, so what are we talking about, right?
I have seen Ukrainian line advances.
Well, and I think that's awesome. Okay, right? But again, sir, you're just giving future. You're giving future projections. We'll see what happens. I was told by Donald Trump he was going to end this war within 24 hours of being president-elect. That's what I was told. We're a year in, okay, and maybe he's now starting to try to maybe do something, okay? But we're not going to give him credit for those things until we see whether they work, because he's a year plus, because he actually said president-elect, right? He's 15 months late on ending this war that he told me he was going to end, all right? So unfortunately, sir, I'm not going to listen to the projections, right? Like, let's see what happens. And then if he does something good, then we'll give him credit for the things that he did, not the things that you think he might do in the future.
Okay, but this isn't a projection. Donald Trump has had Zelensky in the White House or met with Zelensky multiple times, which is not the behavior of someone that isn't trying to bring an end to this.
You know, the last time he talked to Zelensky, he had to freaking call Putin and get permission first. Literally, Zelensky had a meeting and he called Putin to make sure that whatever he said to Zelensky was in Russia's favor. Or at least I assume, because there's no other reason to call him, right?
Yeah, but you have to bring two antagonists to a negotiating table. What you're advocating for is for the United States to join Ukraine's side and fight Russia. And
I never said that.
Okay, well then the only way to achieve peace is to make sure the interests of both sides
It
are
is
met.
not our
It's not
job
why
to achieve peace. It is our job to support our allies. Did you forget which one of those two countries is our ally?
Of course, Ukraine is our ally.
Then why the
And we
fuck?
have-
It is not our job to create peace. Okay, the vice president of the United States yelled at the president of Ukraine for not wearing a suit when he's a wartime president. It is not the job to create peace. It is the job to support our allies. And if our allies say they're ready to keep fighting, it's our job to support that. It is not our job to capitulate to an authoritarian dictator who commits human rights violations and starves his fucking people or jails his political freaking, foes and stuff like that. It's not our job to capitulate to those people, okay? To say in the name of peace. No, it's our job to stick up for democracy. It's our job to stick up to our allies. It's our job to do what we agree to do in the Budapest Memorandum and many other alliances that we've had with Ukraine. It is not our job to try to find a middle ground. Okay, that's not our job. Okay, and if you think that's our job, then I think that you have a misunderstanding of what our point is.
No,
but regardless,
but you're saying,
I'm gonna
you're saying that supporting our allies is less.
All right, I just muted you. Shh. Regardless of any of that, I've been on for over 3 hours, and 3 hours is my limit, and I've been on for 3 hours and 10 minutes because I'm sitting here arguing this with you. So I'm getting off the phone. I hope you have a wonderful night, all right? All right, y'all, please make sure you hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys. Scott, thank you so much for the $5. Said, when does Trump open his comedy show in Europe? You think he's coming to Canada first. I'm sure you'll be the first to buy tickets. The Melania movie will be free along with it, all right? And you'll get a Trump Bible at the show, which is pretty cool, if you ask me. All right. Welcome to Canada. Arian, thank you so much for the $5. Says, why would it de-escalate when Russia is outproducing military equipment against NATO 4-1? Yeah, because they can just turn on the switch. They have all the manufacturing there to turn on the switch, where Europe does not, right? We're the only ones that do. Straight up. Thank you so much, Arian. And Arian also said, caller, ask him what policies led to the U.S. military supply chains running through China. Then ask him what role tariffs play in unwinding that. His weakness is economics. His strength is policy. Ask him what policies led to U.S. military supply chains running through China. Then ask him what role tariffs play in unwinding that. Oh, gotcha. What tariff? Yes. His weakness is his economy. His strength is policy, or his strength is his rhetoric. I don't think it's policy, right? But yes, his tariffs have had drastic effects on military supply chains and tons of stuff that we get through there. Not to mention our alliances and their role in supply chains going across the world. Really, really like crazy stuff. Thank you so much, Arian. Sorry, I'm fried after 3 hours. I got to get some sleep. But I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I got to go. I will see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening, all right? See you guys later. Make sure you guys hit that follow button or hit the subscribe button, all right? Bye-bye.